Hello there, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back to Fragments of Loss, our Rangers of a Broken World actual play. I am unbelievably excited to be getting into this game again with such fantastic people, and even more than that, fantastic people that include a full cast. Gena is back. We're all very happy to have
Yay.
her back.
Hi.
We
Yeah.
missed her so much. We missed her. But so, with that out of the way, folks, if you are new to this, this is only our second episode, so congrats. You're not that far behind, really, and we're going to be doing a recap anyway, so you're really not that far behind. But also, just going to give a quick heads up to everyone here that two big things. Number one, we're still fundraising for Trans Lifeline throughout the entirety of this series. We had an initial goal of $100. People just decided to go, all right, bet, and beat it three times. So we're at 350. So our next goal is 500. Any donations you make for that will go through Tiltify towards Trans Lifeline influence the game. Our players have a variety of different benefits, whether it's something as small as just getting a reroll on a single die, or something as big as during a crisis they getting to roll twice to form their advantage pool, which is a significant boost to what they try and accomplish. Thank you so much, everyone, during these times of extremely perilous, flagrant, and open institutional transphobia, to acknowledging that folks are going through very difficult times, and those of us who are being affected the most by these situations and circumstances need some help. So thank you so much for that. So that is housekeeping number one. Housekeeping number two, I already mentioned one, that we had the fantastic Gena back, but we have an entire cast here, all of whom are already been introducing their characters, and who, including our fantastic Gena today, are going to give a little bit more life to them as we move into our second session. So I'm going to go around the overlay. I'm going to go clockwise and just start calling on people to just introduce your name and pronouns, and then your character's name and pronouns, and the playbook slash what type of ranger you are. So this is conveniently going to start with Gena.
Oh no. Hi, I'm Gina. I use she, her pronouns. I am playing Adestia, who also uses she, her pronouns, and is a windswept cavalier.
Wonderful, fantastic. No notes. Continuing on from that, the incomparable source of immeasurable joy, that is Mirm.
Oh my gosh, that's such a high honor. Hi everybody, my name is Mirm. I use she, they pronouns. And today I'm going to be playing Wea, who uses she, her pronouns, and is a volcanic tracker. So big rocks. So I'll say.
Big rock energy, everybody. And
Yeah.
carrying on with big energy, big silliness, and just big heart, we have our fantastic Amber.
Hi, I'm Amber and I use she, they pronouns. And I am playing Azura, who also uses she, they pronouns. And she is a big woman, aka a tidal navigator.
As Leon has pointed out during our previous session, Title Navigator is the playbook of big women. And matching them in personality, talent, and overall just good feelings provided by them being around, we have Sebastian.
Hello, I'm Sebastian. I use they them pronouns. I'm playing Keldrinith, who also uses they them pronouns, and I'm a beckoning infiltrator. So,
Wonderful. And for those of you who are not aware of who I am, my name is Angela Lemos Mogrovejo. I use she, they pronouns, and I will be playing the GM role for the system, which is known as the Conductor, which I am quite fond of as one of those alternate roles to using Dungeon Master or Game Master, because I am not the master of anything in this system. A lot of this is an open collaboration between me and my players, and also is a matter of me facilitating their madness. Madness, well, quotation parentheses, affectionately, as that particular speaking pattern and writing pattern is one of my favorite recent developments of people doing, where they're just like, "You're so terrible," affectionately. But on that note, we are going to do a quick recap. uh, Leon chiming in chat to note people making Title Navigator big, strong, cool lady just seems to keep happening. You know what? We all deserve more big, strong women in our life. That's just the energy you need during these perilous times. And speaking of perilous matters, I do want to note on a more serious topic that this series is one that is going to have some content warnings we're going to give right now, that we do very heavily discuss and tie into aspects of loss, environmental disaster, dissociation, mental health, and mentions of death. The literal magic system we are using for the system has a mechanic that basically is a form of dissociation for people when they begin to lose themselves in attempting to make use of their magical talents. So if there are matters related to that that you have experienced that you feel you don't want to be reminded of at this time, this may not be the series for you to turn into. But if you are willing to stick around, we appreciate you. And as always, please take care of yourselves. No show, no series or anything is worth sacrificing your mental health for. So, with all of those things out of the way, bless you, or preemptive bless you for Gena. I just saw the the take in of breath, and it's like, the shadow sneeze, the worst kind. It will happen later, but never when you want it to. So we're going to do a quick recap of our previous session, which there isn't actually as much to get into as you would think. The core of what we went over the past session involved really introducing our characters, introducing the world of Amilta. And just as important as our characters are the very gods to whom they are making their pilgrimages to go see. There is the, I believe you said refined bastard or charming bastard was the definition or description Sebastian gave to Caladrinith, who both snuck and then chaosed their way into the center of Rimehold and met with the goddess of revolution. A rather interesting figure with a heavily physically disabled appearance and such, noting the various instances in which she herself had gone through harm and risked much in order to uphold justice for those who need it in the world of Amilta. We had the gripping, powerful, definitely not perpetually anxious Azura managing a lot of affairs on a ship and risking quite a lot of her crew's well-being, nearly believing at one point to have lost 3 members of their crew just to meet Tidal Augustine, the god of beauty, the madness gate, the voice of honesty, who spoke in many ways a lot of words that perhaps Azura was not ready to hear yet, but may in fact be necessary to internalize later on. And last but not least, in a fit of what was the most chaotic monkey theft involved shenanigans that we've been able to pull off just yet, I'm sure we can do more in the future, we had Wea, who managed to go through various volcanic tunnels and encountered a massive crystalline fire elemental red crocodile who they managed to just barely get by and ultimately find their way to their deity, it which bears the title of God of Chaos and the Choral Father, though it personally does not really care for any sense of human gender constructs or really humanity at all, Volcanic Seafing. For the most part, the group has just gone through experiences flashing back to those moments of when they became a full-fledged ranger, having made a pilgrimage to somewhere quite dangerous in order to speak with their deities, and having now found themselves in the port hub that is known as Stageport. But as our group is getting ready to walk on down from their inn that they have been staying at, having been abruptly woken up by a rather 80s goth-haired style individual banging on all of their doors, telling them to wake up, there's still one more party member who we have yet to introduce. And so, let us take some time to head back. We sweep across Amilta, we see not the earth that we have known previously, but an island floating high in the sky, known only as the Scattered Rose Island. We see, some distance away, a gilded paradise of white marble, elaborate tile mosaics with a garden that seems to spread out. There is no equal to this garden. Whatever colors you think you of a human realm can imagine within the light spectrum, there are far more than even the eye can process. Whatever small little animals of varying levels of cuteness and ferocity that you think you have ever experienced, there are so many more there. But we do not stay here. Sadly, we find ourselves going some distance back to the ground, just swooping back to the edge of a new location. Near the edge of this, I'm trying to remember, I believe it was a forest of some kind, if I'm remembering the exact spot correctly. Boreal, that's what it was. I knew it was a forest environment. I was still partially correct. We reached the edge of this forest with a pair of individuals. One human, one definitely not human. Adestia, if you would not mind describing yourself and what is going through your mind as you and your now recently acquired Cloud Elk are reaching the edge of this forest.
Adestia is she's not very large. She's very small, actually. Even made even smaller by this pretty massive cloud elk. Elks are huge, in case you don't know that. Very big, megafauna. She has a very long braid, dark braid going down her back, and actually, she looks a little underdressed next to this elk. She has like a bit of like her boots are very muddy. They're very old. They're old boots, and she has like a dark brown sort of cloak with like it's kind of frayed at the edges, but it's like well patched, well loved, that sort of thing. And she has her bow, her hunting bow. And she she's not used to having any sort of companions, even if this is one that does not talk. It's still new, novel, I guess. So she's sort of trying to project, like, it's totally chill, but like, she doesn't know how to talk to this thing. She doesn't know if she's never had to worry about entertaining a guest. She's used to going by herself through things, so she's not, it's kind of strange to her. Um, she doesn't know how to conduct herself, and she's finding herself like, why am I worrying so much on how to conduct myself? Like it's an elk. Like it's not gonna ask me questions or something, but like she's still, and she's trying to give like stoic, calm, collected, while being a third of this thing's height, probably. She hasn't figured out like there's like a vague sense like she knows of like the cloud like vaguely heard of them, that sort of thing. And she knows that like she's probably expected to figure out how to get up on this thing. She has not figured that out yet. She's walking next to it. I'm making that very clear.
There is definitely an expression on this Cloud Elk's face of just sort of like looking down at you and then sort of like looking up far off into the sky, seeing the floating island that you know you will have to reach. And just sort of, If a massive land titan, that's basically what we should consider a moose or an elk, is a land titan, were to have a face that said, "Are we going up there, boss?" That's kind of the look you're getting from the elk right now.
I feel like you know better than I do. I'm not. That's very helpful. Thank you.
Like gestures to its back. This is sort of like expecting you to figure out. It's like, I can't tell you how to get up on top of
I
me.
don't. This is not. To her horror, she's back to having an argument with this thing.
Start sinking down a significant amount to make it easier for you to get on top of it.
She's like 4'11". Like that's that when I say short, like that's
this
how
is-
small we're talking here.
This is going to be extra funny when you meet some of your other party members, but
I imagine, yeah. I mean, she's gonna try. Like we're approaching the edge of this forest, right?
Yep.
Like I think desperately, in an attempt to maintain any dignity, she's gonna try to find anything that looks like a ledge or a rock or like a low branch that she can climb up first instead of trying to just climb bareback. There's no like stirrups or saddle on this thing.
Nope.
I just met this thing. Um, I'm gonna try and look for anything that I could use to hoist myself up first, and then maybe try to do a cute little hop maneuver.
You know what? Just I'm gonna say this is gonna be a roll. It is not a difficult roll at all, but this
Oh,
is just to see how ridiculous this goes for you. This is a level of how well is your composure. So start with what kind of approach do you want to take to solving this problem? And then if you have a skill related to this, you may add 1 die because we are in season 1. And then if you feel as though there is something in your key that ties into this, one of your major motivations, and you may add 2 more dice.
I'm gonna try and do this for daring because this is like she's like, okay, I can't second guess this. Like if I second guess this, I'm gonna whiff
eat
it.
shit.
Yeah, I'm gonna
I'm gonna
whiff
eat
this.
shit is what the consequence of this is going to be.
We need to look nice and stoic and like I have my shit together for this for this elk that I just met. Gotta make a good impression. So I'm gonna make a daring roll. And then
Okay.
I have a skill in athletics.
I'm say that's appropriate for this.
All right, so that's 2 in daring, right?
So that's 2 dice already, and then
+1 for the season.
+1 for the season.
And then
And then if your athletics will, yeah, you added the 1 from athletics.
yes, and nothing in my key.
Nothing in your key. So
Actually, wait. I have a key that's pride. I'm doing this out of pride. I feel like
I
feel like
I think that's appropriate because
I'm
the
trying-
consequence of this is a loss of pride.
I'm trying
I
not
think
to
this-
eat shit.
Yes, this
I'm
is
trying
the
to look
best
cool here.
start.
All right. So that's 5 dice.
That's 5 dice. Roll
This
those
way-
and tell me what you get on them.
Okay, I have 3 6s.
Okay.
And then the rest is a 4 and a 1.
Okay. You already have enough. This was only a 1.
Oh,
this is a
God.
1. This is all you only needed 1 success. So thankfully this is the thing you're doing very good on. Okay. You are able it is the elk maybe has just a slight bit of unease wrestling through its body that you're not trying to just get on top of it, but
No.
you move, you go, and you manage to just land comfortably. There is no pain, there is no discomfort. You have found just the ideal like spot to where you can keep yourself adjusted on this thing, and if need be for any extra, like if things get dicey, you can hold on to it comfortably around it without it
Okay.
getting any worse.
Flip my braid a little, like, totally meant to do that. Totally confident in my abilities here. I'm good. Okay.
The
Now
elk,
what?
the elk, which I will note, it is, as far as you knew, that these creatures were supposed to be winged, and as to yet, you had not actually seen wings on this creature. In almost an ethereal sort of display of energy, you just see like a pair of massive wings spread out from its back, and it sort of just turns to you, and it looks, and it just gives a mm-hmm. And you find yourself flying. You are flying like 20 feet, 50 feet, 100 feet. You are quite high up in the air now. And you know it is simultaneously terrifying but exhilarating being up here. At
Okay.
any given moment there is the worry about falling, but at the same time you are like, it's not communicated through words, but just a sense, just internally knowing this creature has your back. You have its back, it will have your back. You begin flying and making your way through the sky, heading in the direction of what you know to be your final destination, which is Rose Palace Peak. But as you begin flying through the air and making your way there, you notice something that could not be seen from the distance you were at. You notice creatures. At first, maybe 4 or 5 of them, then a dozen of them. Then you see a swarm of creatures just flying around the island that you know known as Scattered Rose Island. Some of them appear to just be massive vulture-like creatures. Some of them look like they're just a normal-sized condor, which, for anyone who has never seen how big a fucking condor is, they are massive-ass birds. They are the kinds of things that like, anyone who has ever looked at a kangaroo and been like, "Oh, that's so cute," has never noticed how fucking buff those things are. That's the equal level of terrifying you should have for a condor. It's huge, but there is a distinct moment where you're like, okay, maybe this will be fine. Maybe you can just fly past them and not get noticed. But then, in the midst of these crowd of just flying creatures, some of which you note do appear to have almost a humanoid appearance, like they are like sirens or harpy like creatures. You see a small, just, it's not perhaps accurate to call it a wave of imp-like creatures, but it definitely feels like there's just a sudden other swarm of imp-like creatures just flying through the air. They collide with all of these different avian creatures, and you find that they are spreading so far throughout the sky that you are going to have to make your way through this in some way, shape, or form. Like, they are just starting to fill the sky entirely, directly in the path of where you need to go.
Well, this is a little more my speed, actually. Um, could I try and take my bow, and could I try and what am I gonna do? I'm gonna start real simple. I want to fly directly toward them. Actually, could I understand like what exactly is going on before I do anything? Like,
That is a good question. I'm going to say this one you do not need to roll for, because I think you are experienced enough with having seen a lot of creatures. All rangers, which I love this about the book, it's assumed that you have a baseline set of experience and expertise. You would know that this is the presence of these imp-like creatures, you know that these are lesser daemons. These have suddenly they've been known to flock and occasionally try and roost around Scattered Rose Island, and that has just been something that's happened in the past years. You've
Okay.
known it's a development that they're basically like an invasive species. The rest of these avian creatures, they fight with each other, but they have an understanding that we fight, but no one's gonna ever actually take care of anyone's other spot. It's the This is an absurd comparison. It's just the Jets and the Sharks. They're gonna be angry at each other and fight, but no one ever actually wants to go straight to death.
Yeah.
The imps are like trying to talk about one of the other groups and acting like they're one of the other groups. They're just antagonizing both of them. Like it is a swarm of creatures just coming after each other.
Okay.
You do know that the lesser daemons, unless their more noble demon is around, they do tend to be either very unruly or not the hardest to scare away. The bigger problem is that these bird creatures, once you piss them off, they don't really want to leave. It's a lot harder to get past them.
Is there, all right, thinking about that, is there a way I'm going to draw my bow, like, well, take out my bow. Is there a way that I could try and direct my new elk friend to try and, since, there's all of our condor avian friends, and then there are imp friends. Is there a way that I could cut through the imp side of things, just the imps, without bothering the condors?
I would say there is. This definitely, one, will have to come down to a roll, and two, I will say the consequence of failing this is that you will either A, risk a dramatically big divide in your newly established relationship with this elk, or worse, B, the elk might become hurt and as a result of that accidentally buck you off. Like this is a massive risk you are taking. But if you are able to do this successfully, you are cutting a clear path. And depending on how well you do, you might even earn some of the, if you can call it, budding respect of the other avian creatures. They're like, you got rid of the douchebag waking me up from my nap. I will remember this. It will be Chekhov's condor, is what I'm going to say in this context.
I'm so tempted, even though it's a lot of, it's real risky though.
Don't give your players dilemmas. Give them interesting choices, damn it.
I would. Okay, so I'm gonna describe the full set of what I want to be able to
Okay.
try to cut through the imp portion of things without bothering the avian creatures. I would like to try to fire an arrow ahead of us as we go to try and force an opening.
Hmm.
Hopefully these things don't want to get hit by any arrows or anything, but that's what I would like to do ahead of that.
Here's what I will give you.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, the difficulty to get through these things, no other rolls, will be a 4.
Mm-hmm.
You will need 4 successes to get through this. However, if you are successful on a smaller roll to spread them out and disperse them, I will drop that to either a 3 or a 2. However, if you fail that first roll, I'm going to increase the difficulty to a 5.
That makes sense.
So it will be a hard. Like this might even be beyond you. It will be your exact total dice pool. But the first one you need a
Awesome.
success of 2. So that is the offer I will give you.
That's the kind of thing where I'm like, I don't want to be a chicken about it, but also
You also just got a new friend.
I
who
also
you
got a
don't
new
want
friend.
bucking you off.
No, but also
I will say 2 is not too. It's not the highest difficulty to achieve. It is along the average to easy kind of range to achieve. Just
No, I spent so long on this. I have to commit to it.
Please, please,
I
please.
spent so long on thinking this through that
Yes, and as a reminder, we do have pools of resources that if
yeah,
things go wrong, you can
yeah.
spend them.
All right. Um, just so hold on. So to clarify on how these auto successes work, or like these other pool success things work,
Yes.
how do they work?
Auto success, it is just a 6. You
Okay.
don't even need to roll.
Could I apply
Reroll,
that
yes, you
after?
can apply.
Okay.
Yes, these are all applying after.
Okay. Well, I gotta use them so that our audience has reason to donate more to us. You know?
I love this thought process. Well, here's the thing. I don't want to die, so
I don't want to die, but also it's like,
That's
if we have so many of them, why
no,
would
no,
they?
no, yeah, no.
We need to
They're
have
there to
zeros. We need to
they
have zeros so there's an incentive.
I gave these tiers because I knew that they would be very tempting for the audience to get to give as well, and that y'all would enjoy them and want to use them.
All
A
right.
resource is there to be used. Do not pull a JRPG and stack 99
No.
elixirs and think, you know what, maybe I'm gonna need them for the next fight, and never use them.
Honestly, I feel very called out, and it's very rude.
Well,
You don't need 99 elixirs. You
don't.
need 30. That's it.
I feel like JRPG should give you how many you should be having at a time. So if you're running over.
Now
All
my
right.
producer is yelling at us.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna commit to this course of action. I'm gonna try and fire an arrow first. I'm gonna
Okay, so pick your facet.
I assume this is a daring roll because this is
Look,
the
I let
audacity.
it is a matter of how you choose to solve the problem, but I would
It's-
say daring is the most appropriate way
I
because
am-
this is a I have the nerve of a god to be willing to try and do
Yep.
this.
All right. So it's daring. I have a long range weapons. Yeah. That's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, alrighty.
All right. I should have put more in daring, but
So
I'm discovering
daring-
in real time what this is. I should have. All right. This is gonna roll so bad. I promise you. Okay. I don't know what a success bar is here. I have
Okay.
a 5, a 4, and a 1.
a 5, a 4, and a 1. Okay, so for the first one, you need 2 successes in order to do it.
I don't know what a
Now,
success.
so the success range is 5 to 6 is a
Okay.
success. 2, 3, 4 doesn't do anything. A 1 is an edge success, which means I will let you take that as a success, but there is a complication that arises in doing so. So, here is the complication. If you want it as a success,
Okay.
there is no hemming and hawing, no buts about it. You will fall off if you fail this next roll. There is no possibility to suddenly, miraculously be hold on by your legs or anything. It is a guarantee you will fall off because you are still getting used to firing from atop a flying animal that you do not have a strong relationship with.
Nope.
But if you take this, I'm going to drop the difficulty from a 4 to a 2.
2.
Yes. That's
Sure.
why I'm making it extra tempting.
Oh,
You are
yeah.
going to have an even higher risk now if you fail this next roll, but it will now be easier if you take this edge success.
I mean, yeah, I'll take it. I'm feeling great. This is amazing. This is the best thing ever. Like, I have never been in my life cooler, actually. Like, maybe having friends is great. People can.
Ooh, oof, ooh. That would hit harder than I thought it was
Great.
going to. Damn.
Maybe it's fun when people aren't around. Like, I look so cool. I have some help. This is great. Like, yeah, I'll take
So-
it, even if I maybe am not leaning as far forward as I should be and as balanced. I'm just like, oh, this is great.
So, here's what happens. You take that edge success. So that is going to give you the 2 that you need to reduce the difficulty for your next just basically trying to scatter through them. Because here is exactly what happens. When you fire the arrow, it's less so that your singular arrow scares a whole bunch of these things. It's just where you place it, you find the right spot where as they fly out of the way to try and not get hit by it, they careen into the path of more of these
sick.
avian creatures. So it's less that they're scared of your one arrow and more that they did not expect in that moment to fly directly into the path of very hungry burbs. And some of these burbs are tearing them to shreds now. Now it is chaotic, and there is still a small swarm that you are trying to navigate through, but your path ahead is clear. You need to roll one more time, and this you need to get 2 successes on. Now, if you have anything related to, I'd say, survival or animal handling or anything related to that as a skill, that would apply here in this case. I'm going to take a guess you're using daring, but if you're using another one, I'm open to hearing the argument and the facet you want to choose.
I think I'm going to try and this time, I'm going to try and watch as we're charging forward. I'm going to try and understand like the way these things are moving because they're
Ah,
moving as a swarm, right? And there
yes.
are like bird swarm and flock patterns where they do that like
Yep, yep.
undulating thing. I'm going to try and put my hand on the side of the elk's neck, and I'm going to try and point not toward where the opening currently is, but as everything is flying and like retreating or like moving forward, try and predict where that hole is going to move as we're coming toward it.
Okay, so you're trying to essentially guide your elk and try and like
Yes.
play. Trust me, this will
Yes.
work. Just believe in me. Believe in the
Yes.
me that believes in you.
Yes. I'm going to say this is a sensitivity roll, which is not any better by my daring, but that's just
No, that makes sense for the context though, from what you've explained. So go with that.
um
Any skills that apply in this instance?
I'm gonna say this is a riding. That makes
Yes, this
sense.
this is most definitely a writing roll if ever there was one. Much is writing on this particular
Much is
roll.
riding. All right. So that's two. I have two in sensitivity, and then that's
Okay.
one for my writing skill.
Yep, yep. That's 3.
Um, I don't think there's anything in my key. No,
All right.
I'm gonna say no.
So that's 3 dice. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Let us begin.
Oh my goodness. That is, I rolled the same exact thing, a 5, a 4, and a 1 on different dice.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, I keep rolling the same thing.
So that is 1 success and an edge success. So here's what I'm going to offer to you to take this success. You get to pick between one of 2 options as your consequence if I let you have the success. 1, you make it to the island, but your landing is not
Oh,
ideal,
I was hoping.
and you get chucked by your elk, but your elk still feels okay about this, and you still maintain a relatively okay relationship. Or you land, you are okay, the elk takes the brunt of the landing and does not take kindly to this, and this sours the start of your relationship.
Oh. See, I have to take the first one because I was hoping, and if you weren't gonna offer it, I was gonna negotiate that I eat shit. So I gotta eat shit.
So here's so you Kareen, you are placing your faith in this new animal companion. You make your way through. It is you are almost about to make it when a small, like imp-like creature. It looks as though now that you see it like up close, it has more of like an owl kind of face with a
Hmm.
long like beak, and it like lashes out to try and reach the elk, and it almost is about to hit you, but the elk just kind of like slams into it and manages to push it away, but it sets you off course for your landing, and it lands. It's okay. You are launched a fair bit distance. Let me just roll a d6 for no reason in particular. Okay. About 20 feet away.
Oof.
It's it hurts. It hurts a fair bit.
Oh, could
This
I
is yeah.
could I say I got like my face is scratched up from this. It's like horrible. Um, I don't know why I said like I understand. I want to say that it scratches up like my like it's one of those things where I feel like it looks worse than it is.
Yes.
It looks worse than it is. Like but I've definitely skinned off the back of my ear probably.
Yeah.
I want to say that I've got a nice scratch across the side of my face now, which is gonna not look great
Yeah, your
for
braid
however
ain't
long.
holding up very good either.
No, no. I'm just
You are
gonna
not
lo
looking your best.
no. I'm just gonna lie on. I'm gonna kind of like lie on the floor for a little bit.
Just gonna be here. I'm gonna cry just a little bit. Just a little bit.
I do. I mean, I don't stay the way I landed. I do like, that thing where you fell down, you just kind of adjust yourself into something slightly more comfortable, and it's now floor time for the next 90 seconds.
Ah yes, the low key position, gotcha. Low key been smashed by Hulk position. The I'm just gonna be here for a bit.
Yeah.
And it is about just a few minutes later where you start to notice across this massive gilded paradise that exists around you, you start notice a faint glow coming from a direction.
You gonna help me out? No, I'm not gonna even wait. I'm just gonna start getting up.
As you get up and you look if you look in the direction of the glow, you'll see that it is actually coming from what appears to be an animal. It looks as though there is a fawn with a pair of opalescent antlers.
All right. I've lost all investment in looking good at this point. Like after eating shit that bad, there's no coming back from it.
Nope.
Um,
Just nope.
I look around for the elk real quick.
The
They,
elves
they,
just sort of like come by and just sort
okay.
of like the tip of its nose is just like against you, just going. Mm.
You haven't abandoned me yet. Okay.
It just it like shakes its head.
All right. Thanks, buddy. Okay. I'm gonna try and glowing animals is not typical, I'm gonna say. So
Nope.
I'm gonna no. Um I imagine I have a general sense of how this world works. So
Yes.
I'm
In
gonna
your very expert opinion, that's just weird.
it's just weird. So
That's just weird.
I'm having a day. I'm having a day. So I'm just gonna try and very politely like get down real low. Well, she doesn't know how you're supposed to approach glowing animals, so she's gonna try and like how you approach like small children, small strange children that you don't know at like a family gathering? Like
That's the energy. Just like
that's
non-aggressive, just trying to be chill.
yeah,
Mm, yeah.
that
The
strange child at the family picnic that you're related to and you've never seen before.
yeah.
It's the energy here.
You as you approach, the fawn just sort of like nods its head at you and it starts to very casually trot away, but it looks as though it's waiting for you.
Oh gosh. Yeah, everything hurts now, so she's hoping we're not going far. She will. Okay. Very slowly, maybe limping a little, following it, trying to maybe subtly brush off her cloak every now and then when it's not looking directly at her.
Mm. You follow the path, and this fawn just leads you directly into
Shh.
what you can only describe as the most beautiful garden you have ever seen. There are colors that there are hues and tones that you have never seen before. There is a variety of small animals just roaming around, climbing different things, some of them occasionally just bringing food to each other. And at the center of this garden, it rests a granite boulder seamed through with sparkling quartz and a blanket of fluffy moss.
I guess you're gonna limp. It now feels like very like everything's so nice and beautiful and pretty, and she's here in her like muddy boots and her kind of slightly more tattered than it was at the start of all this cloak, and it's just bleeding all over the place. Actually, it's kind of unpleasant now because now her neck is all sticky. It's kind of bad. Um, okay. I think she's gonna try and move toward this boulder because it seems, she doesn't know how these things work. It seems like a nice, let's approach the big landmark situation. She's used to landmarkless, forests or like, just meadows that don't have anything of note. So it's like, we're gonna walk toward, she's not very good at, I guess. I
As
guess.
as you approach the boulder,
Very tired.
you hear a very soft voice call out to you. Hello, my love.
Hey. Ow.
And as you turn, you see a deep brown skinned woman with what appears to be the signs of vitiligo, except instead of sort of like white spots, it's like patches of moss growing all throughout her body. Hello, my love. It's good to have you here.
I don't hear that very often, so that's I appreciate that, I guess.
Do you always try and stand on decorum when you meet new people?
Yes. I don't talk to people much, so it seems like a
I've
safe
gathered
bet.
as much. My dear, you don't need to try and keep yourself all put together for my sake. I'm certainly not going to ask you to stand on any sort of decorum with me. I imagine you're hurting quite a lot from all of that, and sort of
Y-
just gestures towards.
yes. Yes. I'm not gonna even pretend that you didn't see that because
Dear,
it's
come
very
here,
dramatic.
come here, dear, come here.
Please don't
Receive.
hug me.
I will keep my hugs to myself in that case.
All right. I'm going to approach trepidatiously.
Welcome to my garden. Welcome to, well, I suppose what counts for my friends. And you see all the other little creatures. It's very big Snow White kind of vibes at this moment. Just all of the little creatures just assembled around her. And you see that your Cloud Elk companion has sort of gone next to her, and she's just sort of like brushing along his head. Your friend tells me you tried something quite daring.
Y- yeah, it's straightforward as best, I think.
You had you took quite a lot of risk in coming here to see me, and for that I am very grateful. I do not get as much company as I used to in olden times. There are those who were more willing to make the venture, but I suppose once you leave the earth, it gets a little difficult to ask that of people. But I'm glad that you took all the time and effort to come and see me.
Yeah, I suppose I didn't have much else to do, and it seemed like a change of pace.
Not having much else to do is a very new reason I've heard for someone to make the trip over to see me.
Might be lying a little bit, but
I trust you have your reasons for lying to, of all things, a deity.
oh, is there anything else I'm expected to do? Or do I just...
No. I'm not asking you to swear fealty or anything to me. I only asked you to do and represent, in a way, what I represent to the world. Though, I suppose I must ask, what do you think I represent to this world? And please, do not stand on decorum. Please be as blunt and honest as you need to be. And if you must swear, please do so vigorously.
I mean, I said it's a change of pace. The ability to do something differently. Simple as that.
There's much that you will be able to do with my gifts. There are many who will need your care, who will need hope. Can you be that guiding hand for them? Can you be that person who provides care?
Honestly, I don't know.
Good. I would prefer you be honest, especially if it is with your own trepidation.
I'd like to. That's why it's a change of pace.
Then know that I am here to support you. I am given many names, many titles, but the one I am most fond of is the Queen of Miracles. And do you know what it is that I actually facilitate in creating miracles?
Tell me in your own words.
I
Not very
give
good at talking.
I give people the chance to show who they are, who I know them to be, even when they don't see it for themselves. And one of the most remarkable things you'll find in this world is that there are quite a lot of good people in it. They are often held down by circumstances that force them to do terrible, terrible things. But there are good people in it. If they are given the chance and the means to do so, they can surprise you with how much kindness and care they can give to others. And I'm willing to believe you are one of those people.
A little misplaced, I'd say, but I'd like to believe it.
Well, your elk friend here says otherwise. And you see the elk just sort of like nods, just very like simply and solemnly, but seems to be very honest.
Let's give it a try. Made it all the way out here anyway, so.
You did. And for that, you may receive of my blessings. And you feel there is a calm inside of you. It is somewhere between a nice chill wind on an extremely hot day. It is a warmth in the midst of a deep, cold night of winter. It is the heartbeat of nature itself resting inside of you. And you find yourself feeling a little bit sleepy afterwards. And you're able to pass into the realm of dreams very easily here. You're able to rest and you find your wounds recovered, and you have the most blissful sleep you've ever experienced. And whatever happy thoughts you have not been with you in recent times, you feel like they're just within reach when suddenly banging of a door. It's like, it's time to get up. It's time to get up. You're welcome to keep being here, just not in these rooms. I have to clean them. And you awaken in an inn room and stage port as you hear not only your companions getting up and leaving and going downstairs, but you hear probably the person who runs this inn banging on your door asking you to wake up. And however you rise, however you get up, take care of your appearance or what have you, if you do at all, eventually you do smell the distinct scent of kind of like a garlic fried rice mixed with fried eggs. And there is also the smell of porridge coming from downstairs as well.
All right, all right. Just give me a minute. Jeez.
And so some time passes, all that carries on. And as you come downstairs, everyone else in the party, if you would not mind physically describing, what do they see? Let's say at like a table, it's like a circular table there with the whole party. What does Adestia see? Feel free to introduce yourselves however you wish.
I can go first. So Wea is probably the closest to the kitchen, and they have a few bowls in front of them. They have the one in their hand, and they have like three more that are finished. They've just kept eating because they're so hungry. But body wise, you see a darker skinned femme person. They have long, very long black hair that goes down to their lower back, very curly. They're covered in tattoos, most of which I don't, if you've ever been to the coast, you might see some folks with it, but it's very common and traditional for their specific village to have those kinds of tattoos. They have their like shirt tied around their neck. It's constantly hot and I'm not dealing with this shit. They have giant uh glasses, circular glasses like in anime. And they're just absolutely fucking ripped. So they're just trying to get some protein intake before we head out. So
The most ripped nerd we have ever had in one of these games.
yeah.
Next.
But do you want to go?
Yes, I can go
Yeah.
next. So you see this large woman, both in size and stature and in personality, with her elbow on the table and her fist leaning against her hand, and she's like got a spoon and some porridge, and she's like half asleep, kind of like making it to her mouth. Um, the side of the side of her head that you can see has this curly green and white hair, like a tide hitting the beach. What you can't see is the other side of her head is completely shaved. She is very broad in her body, and just takes up, like I said, just takes up space, both emotionally and physically. And she is cognizant, barely.
Yeah. Yeah, you also see this, honestly, this person who is maybe only a couple of inches taller than you, sitting in like the furthest away from the entrance to this room, just kind of clearly not entirely awake yet, and they have like a mug of some steaming caffeinated substance. I don't know what's available here. Do they have
Quite a
coffee?
lot of
Like,
things. Yes, there is
yeah,
coffee. Only
yeah.
because if I didn't include coffee in any aspect of a fantasy world, someone who cannot function without coffee would yell at me.
Yeah, so I as a person don't drink it, but I think this character definitely does. Yeah, they're dressed all in black. Very inappropriately has their hood pulled up anyway, so you don't see like what their hair is like or anything. and they're trying to keep their expression neutral as though they're not bothered by all of the noise and bustle that's happening around them.
And I will say, so that everyone has this as context from the party, the main thing that has brought your group together, which you have all worked with each other for however long you want to, the group would like to decide they have, but you have an established working relationship with each other. You've all worked together as a group already. You're not like suddenly like, who are you? Who are you? Who are you? We've skipped that part. We're not doing that. We don't do that here.
Yeah.
But the main thing that has sort of brought you all here is that you've been hearing reports of some sort of it's equivalent to kind of like a boogeyman kind of story that you've been hearing happening. You've been hearing little whispers of this in a lot of different places, but Stageport, because it's sort of the biggest density of people, there have been the highest reports and accounts happening of people being attacked by some sort of shadowy like creature. They don't really have any strong identifying like details on it, other than one thing that I will say for stands out that probably piqued Kiladrinus' interest, which is that they distinctly heard amidst the noise of what they were trying to make out of this shadowy creature attacking them, the kind of scraping and strong movement of clanking metal.
Mm.
Hmm.
I also forgot to say that like my character's like built like a toothpick, so so
You
like, yeah,
have
short
you
like a
have the
toothpick.
beef and the toothpicks.
Yes.
Could I also, I mean, it's also convenient because we're on the top of the layout and the nice. Could I also say, since some time has passed, Adistia has gotten a nicer cloak since then. Her demeanor is not, it's a lot cuter than her demeanor is. I actually realized my shawl is not unlike it's like this, yeah, this kind of like cute light green with like nice like little nature embroidery, but then she's also got like the running into the ground did scar on her face. There is a nice scar straight up across her cheek. She doesn't tell people how that happened.
I
It is
got it on the
there.
path.
Even if asked directly.
You can try.
Okay. I mean, because I think
I love
I'm just
this.
saying that like I think that if we've been working together for a while, I would have asked, but if you just said, I don't want to talk about it, then I'm not going to ask again. But
Yeah,
also, I'm a beckoning infiltrator. I like gossip. I like drama. I just like to know things.
you can keep
So,
trying.
yeah. No, I'm not going to keep trying. I'm just, like I respect it if someone says they don't want to talk about a thing. It just means I will try to find out through more covert methods.
Oh, I encourage that. But yeah, there's like a gnarly like scar across her cheek, and she's just like
Yeah. But what would you
every
have said at
time
the first time?
she would just not have answered. It's just, the kind of like long stare of an answer,
I was
like
hoping that would be your answer, Gina.
Okay.
She just doesn't give you an answer. So Keldrin is
Okay.
just like
And so
they
I'm
didn't get a
left.
no.
Yeah, and I'm left to draw my own conclusions. And so my own conclusion is it was either really traumatizing or really embarrassing, which is its
oh
own
yeah.
kind of trauma. But I'm just, yeah, those are my two working theories.
I just needed everybody to know that she's now got a cute shawl that does not match the cold stare and a massive scar across her face from the landing.
Fantastic. So but yeah, this is just morning of food. It's very tasty, very hearty and rich food. And there's definitely, even with this place being filled with the scent of like delicious foods of various kinds, you are still smelling outside because of just how much activity is happening, because it's starting to get into the latter part of the morning. There's a lot of food just happening on the streets here. There's a
Oh.
very constant smell of coconut cream with various kinds of fish being cooked in different places. There are there are some folks who look as though they're making kind of like sour soups with mixtures of fish and vegetables. There are folks who look as though they're kind of doing like kind of fritter style dishes. Some of them have just gotten fresh batches of shrimp, so they're just like frying it up. And then there's a lot of like head still on kind of ones of those. Someone far off in the distance looks as though you're hearing the cries of folks working at the docks going, "Hey, we haven't get that crate through. We gotta get that pig over to the restaurant, and we're not gonna have it for the evening pork belly. Like, there's just a bunch of activity. There's a lot of noise happening. So, Caladrinis probably don't like this at all.
No,
Just a
honestly,
lot
also
of
Anila,
noise.
it's dinner time in my time zone. I'm just like, man,
What a mood.
You will
Ugh.
expect this every session.
Every single time.
Every time. Because I must tempt everyone with various things, including lechon. Because I must.
Yeah, but no,
Why do you do
Kildrenith
this
is
to me?
irritated just because, like, when everyone's loud, it's difficult to hear important stuff, and I want to be able to eavesdrop.
Huh.
Can't do that if everyone's yelling.
But yeah. You may proceed as you wish, folks. There's just like the only lead you have is that like there's accounts of this floating around. There might be one or two locals you could go and have a chat with about this, but
Yeah, are there any do we know who first like brought this report to our attention? That might be a good place to start.
yes, I will say you do have a local by the name of Hana, Hana, Hana,
Mhm.
who mentioned she is also an infiltrator by trade, and she was sort of out with for a bit more of a rowdy occasion, and then definitely had this experience of like, what the fuck is this? What the fuck is this? No, 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 run, 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 run. But she is the one who reported the most distinct feature of that clanking metal that stuck out to you.
Yeah, because that reminds me of the thingy the creature, the being that I put in the
Yep.
ground.
Yeah, the panther
Yeah.
thing that had the split mouth with tentacles coming out of its
Yes.
body. It's like if you mixed a displacer beast with a predator,
Hmm.
which is a combination that, having said that out loud, is terrifying.
Awful.
Okay. So like is Hana around like in this area?
you she's not available at your beck and whim, but also you are both of a similar training, so you get the sense it would not be very hard for someone like you to ask around and find out.
Okay.
Because Stageport is also a place where infiltrators do tend to congregate quite often to help out some of the folks who are in the kind of like poorer or like more rough off sections
Hmm.
of the city. So that is one lead. You could also just talk to some of the dock workers here, see if they've heard anything. If you would know that dock workers tend to keep some of the best gossip. There's also just asking around any of the taverns or inns. There's a lot of different kinds of people and leads you could follow. It's a matter
Mm,
of my fantastic players, what do you do next? It's deciding as a group basically where you want to follow up with.
right. So you'd like us all to like kind of pick one and go together, and you don't want to split the party?
I mean, you can. It is your call.
Okay.
I will never say no to you splitting the party. I will simply say consequences will follow from such decisions.
Yes.
Why?
Because
Oh no, the consequences of my actions. Whomst could have seen this coming? Every time.
every
Yep.
time. But it's y'all's call. Some of them would probably take you a little bit farther. Like talking to just folks at the docks would be the closest nearby. Inns would probably require a bit more a move around the city and having
Yeah,
to
we can
deal with the
explore.
bustling.
That would be fun. But also I do think that Keldron's like first instinct would be to look for the first reporter of this story, especially if they're also an infiltrator.
Yeah.
Could I meet in the middle between keeping us together and splitting the party?
I don't know what that entails, but sure.
Incredible.
Split 2 and 2.
Hear me out so quick. So obviously, like if we all go to Hana, like we all have to go there together, you know? And then what if on the way, like two of us just break off real fast and then come back?
That's
Doable.
fine.
I
Like,
was
we find
thinking
it-
something
We can cover
something
more ground.
similar.
Yeah. Like we're right there. So if we have consequences, then we'll hear the consequences, and we're not gonna have to just like twiddle our thumbs as we listen to the other scene play out. We can just be like,
No, that's fair.
You know?
No, yeah.
Yep. I'm good to
Especially
do that.
since Azura loves dock people. Those are her people. So
I live on the coastline, so I'm also very
Yeah.
I
There's
like dock
definitely
people.
there's definitely a vibe here of like there is a certain kind of, I'll put it this way. There, I think I remember a friend telling me at one point that for the US, when you talk about people from the West Coast versus East Coast, the difference between them is like West Coast people are nice, but they're not kind.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas East Coast people are kind,
They're
but they're
not
not
nice.
nice.
Yes.
And you
Yes.
have kind of an East Coast mentality happening here. No one working these docks, if you remotely get in their way, is remotely nice to you. But if you ask them straight up questions, they will give you the most direct and helpful answers they can. It's kind of one of those situations.
Yeah, well, I mean, we are kind of bothering them when they're at work, so
Mm-hmm.
fair enough.
I got big muscles. I'll help out.
I was about to say we're both big. We're both big people. Could we? I mean, I probably would naturally anyway be like, oh, a thing has to happen. Okay, I can do that.
Absolutely.
I would say if okay, so is the party going to the docks sort of situation first? Let me start with that.
I think we're
Where is
probably,
Hana? I
Or
think.
to Hana. Hana or the
Yeah.
docks first? Just double checking.
I mean, we'll probably do the docks if they're on the way to Hana, is I think
They
the
would
plan.
probably be on the
My
way to
understanding
Hana.
of the plan. So
Yes.
docks first for your
Okay.
purposes.
Okay.
So then we can help out with
Mhm.
work while Kilodrenith talks to people and gets information because I don't do talking well. I just pick big things up and put them down.
I'm just a nerd who happened to work out.
What can I say?
That's my canon voice for Waya now. I see, what can I say? I'm just a little guy. Just a little guy. Adestio, are you going with the two folks of the docks, or are you going with Calidrenus towards Hana?
Odysseus wants to avoid getting drawn into lifting boxes as much
So
as
that'll probably be
possible.
with Hana.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
the smaller characters can go and do the talking as opposed to the
Toothpicks can go
lifting.
that way.
This will be a common thread throughout our entire series. The
Probably.
Oh, highly
small go with the
likely.
small, and the big go with the big.
I don't know. Sometimes we'll
Unless-
pair up because the small are bad at fighting. I don't know.
Yeah.
Who
And then
knows?
unless you need to be carried, and then we'll have to pair up the other way.
Yeah,
And then we'll carry you.
So
Piggyback.
we'll
with
switch
that-
it around.
So we'll keep that thread going. Yeah. Leon in the chat with yeah. The phrase "the comedy gender" is one of the
Yeah.
best I've read.
It is, yeah.
So good. So let me start with Azura and Wea. It's this kind of weather and the kind of folk who are here. It is a lot of just it's working class folk. It's a lot of men and women. It's a lot of like folk who are like, listen, once we have all the shipments and everything coming in, we need to get this shit loaded off because there are restaurants here that people need to take care of. There are inns that need other supplies. There are merchants here who need to sell stuff and start making their way to all the other parts of Amalta. This is very much a like, okay, I see. Yes. Do you have something important to relevant to what I'm currently doing? If not, please get the fuck out of my way. You have that kind of energy and vibe. So I would think both of you are probably used to that energy at this point.
Yeah.
But depending on like what you want to who you want to talk to, there's a couple of different folks around here, and it looks like there's somebody who's just playing music near the docks, just trying to do some busking. Looks like there's somebody who's just finished like hauling in, like is carrying over crates, and the smell coming off of it is like the freshest fish you have ever smelled in your entire life. It is not just has a stink to it, it is a stank. We have moved from stink to stank.
Yum.
It smells like salt and meat.
It smells like home.
Yeah.
I'm home.
It's okay. That's what it sounds like. Okay.
Yep. So there's a couple of different people. So depending on who you'd want to talk to and get some information from.
So we've got a
Up to you.
busker. I think
Yeah.
I like
And,
the idea of being like, hey, you play a pretty good tune.
Just probably
I was
just-
going to say an instrument, but I couldn't think of what instrument maybe they were playing.
Probably something more
Uh,
akin to like a lute or yeah, probably something closer to like a lute or a small like stringed instrument of some kind. You-
Are they playing a song I would recognize?
There is definitely, you've heard variations of this on your ship. I will say the versions on your ship are often much bawdier than this. This seems like a much more city friend. This is the safe for work version of this song.
Okay, got it. So it's got like the F words bleeped out and stuff. Okay.
Or they've just come
Uh,
up with a phrase to fill in the beats of the several cuss
got it.
and or colorful language. Let's put it that way.
So I imagine Azura is carrying a big, um, like a mom bag. Like it's like the best way that I can think of. Just like a big bag that's just got stuff in it. You know, you never know when you need stuff. And she pulls out a ukulele and she'll start playing her little ukulele with the busker.
I'm gonna need a roll for this.
Absolutely.
Please choose your facet. Choose
Um
your...
um what about adaptability? You
I
gotta be
actually kind
ready.
of like adaptability for this
You
one.
gotta be
This is
ready
pretty...
for anything.
You gotta be ready for anything, even jam sessions, I
Um
guess.
yeah, and I have the skill performance.
Applies here, so that's one more die.
And what if I use the key creativity?
Ooh.
That is perfect. So you get 2 more
Ooh.
dice from that.
Wait, did I count all my dice correctly? I got 3. Okay.
So
I got 1 edge success.
is that it?
Wow. Okay.
So if you would like to burn one of your auto successes and either or anything, so you just want this to be a fail because you need a 2. This is only a 2 difficulty to get past.
Yep, this is what it is.
So there's definitely a moment of like this busker hits like a very like beautiful like floating, almost lilting note, and it's so beautiful, and there's definitely been a small crowd coming together, and then it's the equivalent of like hearing the original beautiful version and then suddenly the Weird Al Yankovic version comes on. So-
Yeah.
and there's definitely a moment of this busker just turning to look at you like, the fuck you doing?
Can I
Uh,
walk up right behind them and just put my hand on their shoulder? I'm like, I got a few questions.
Uh-huh, I might have answers. Depends who I'm giving the answers to.
The person who didn't fuck up this whole, shebang shaboodle that you're doing.
You know
And then
what? That's a
I give
good
them
point. Immediately turns away entirely from Azura. Like, just does not want to pay attention to you at all.
Thank you so much for your full attention. Heard there's some shit going down, some scary shit, mechanical grinding and scary stuff that people run away from.
Wait. Before I go forward with any sort of answers to this, who is asking?
I am.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
why are you asking?
I don't know if you noticed. I got some big muscles and I like to use big muscles to
It's very attractive. Honestly,
Yeah.
my boyfriend could probably stand to look a little bit closer to you, but that's
so much.
beside the point.
Thank you so much. And I like to kick shit around and you know.
Honestly,
You
the more
know.
you talk, the more attractive you become, but carry on.
Thank you so much. Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah, I like to just you know, beat shit up for the sake of the people. That makes sense. So I heard it's affecting this community, and I don't see any high class, any bullshit over here. So I'm just here to help the people. And then I flex.
So I would like you to make a roll for me.
Yeah.
So, because good lord, amazing.
Yeah.
Just wow.
Thank you.
I want you to make a roll for me. So pick your facet and a
Yeah.
skill if you have any that are relevant.
Okay. I'm gonna use daring because this
I,
is
you are being quite bold.
I am being quite bold. Um, I want to make a case for athletics because I'm flexing.
You know what? I'm gonna let it go. I'm
Okay.
gonna let you have it.
All right. Awesome.
Partially because of how ridiculous this entire scenario you've already created for yourself is. So
Um,
yes.
and then I'd like to use my chaotic key.
This feels very appropriate for a chaotic moment.
Okay, great.
All right, so I'm gonna say this was gonna be a 2 difficulty. It is a 3 because of Azura's actions. He's not in a good mood after losing a potential customer base, so this is gonna be medium difficulty.
Okay.
As
Three.
Azura's like putting money in the hat or whatever he's got.
He's not noticing you though. He's just like, he's just
I'm like passing you more money to put in there.
Just keep putting money in.
So roll that. Let's see what happens. Jesus Christ.
Okay. All right. It's 2 6s and a 1.
2 6s and a 1. Okay.
Yeah.
So for a medium needs 3.
Yeah.
So the 1 will be I will offer here's my first idea of offering this. If you ever interact with this person again,
Yes.
Azura will never be in good graces to them. The only way
Okay.
to fully convince this guy to get that edge success is
Yeah.
you have to throw her under the bus.
Please.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Okay. I kind of like get a little closer to the person and I'm like,
Mhm.
yeah, don't. I'm so sorry about my partner. They just like, I don't even know. Like, I was really hoping they would come through and help you out here, but I really got to pick up the pieces here.
You know what? You know what? It's very understandable. My boyfriend is very much a similar kind of man. He tries really hard. He's like, "My lovely Virgil, I will do whatever it takes to make your life at ease." And I just tell him, "Maybe please stop trying to sing around the customers. You sing terribly. I love you, but singing is not among your gifts. I love you very much. Your
Yes,
dear
and
Virgil loves you very much."
yes, and I
But
love them, and they just don't need to bring out their ukulele anymore,
not
and it's
just
okay.
in general, just anymore. Just never again.
Okay,
Oh.
awesome.
Okay, look.
Can do.
Look. He, here's the deal. Here's the deal. Here, come here. Come here.
Yeah, yeah,
Come here close to
yeah,
me.
yeah, yeah.
So, I have a friend who's seen what that thing is, who's gotten a better look of it.
Yeah.
Now, we're honestly, I like everybody else. I thought it was just sort of some bullshit. I was like, "Hey, my man Arturo, are you sure that you really saw a fucking shadow turtle just kind of roaming around somewhere else? Because with a bunch of shadow tentacles just flowing out of it that sound like the horrifying wails of the damned. I feel like
Yeah.
that's a little much. Like any one of those details alone would have been okay, but the combination sounds it's a little far-fetched.
Azura's gonna, to make this worse, chime in and say whales like ocean whales or whales like screaming.
I fully like box out like basketball style. Like, okay,
So
screams, right? You mean screams, right?
well, as much as your friend has currently cost me, I don't know, about an hour or two's worth of business, which I just want to note for the record, I appreciate your money, but I would have had that money anyways if you had not played. Nobody likes the ukulele here. I want to make that known.
Noted for later. We'll have
No,
that in our
you
head.
hear someone in the background go, just like another dock worker. Hey, I don't know, Virgil. I mean, I kind of like the ukulele. Shut up! Nobody in this current conversation involving you points at Wea and me doesn't even include Azura in that
Yeah.
designation.
Yeah.
No, I
Likes
don't
the
deserve it.
ukulele. But look,
Yeah.
from what Arturo tells me, it doesn't make a lot of sense to us because the weird clanking and moving metal kind of thing that he mentioned, it's the kind of thing that I used to hear my grandpa tell me belonged to like automata, like a
Oh.
machine from like we're talking like the old times. Like we're
Yeah.
talking like points in the direction of the mountains when there was a range there.
Yeah.
But all the weird creepy ass whales kind of thing, it sounds like something that only a horror could do. So it makes no sense. Like there's no way both of those things are happening at the same time.
You'd be surprised. Things that could happen at the
I
same time.
prefer not to be, being honest. I have a very good life here, and I would prefer not to be terrified in that
And
kind
that's
of way.
why I'm here. I'm gonna make sure that shit doesn't come back. Hey.
What if
I
it's a
appreciate the
ghost
confidence.
inside? It's like a ghost inside of a shell, as it were.
So a ghost in the
Of
shell is
Oh
what
yeah,
you're
ghost
saying?
in the shell.
Yeah.
Yeah, ghost in the
Yeah,
shell.
what if there's like a ghost in the armor, so to speak, a la Scooby-Doo?
Yeah.
I have no understanding of who this figure of Scooby Doo is, but I feel inclined to tell you that I feel like you need better company. Maybe a dog, maybe learn how to talk to said dog. I don't know why I'm feeling this inspiration after you've mentioned the name Scooby Doo, but you know, I just want it to be known.
Thank you. Yeah, I will suggest that. I will suggest that to Wei. I'd be like, maybe it's like haunted or something.
Yeah. I mean, spirits do shit all the time. What's stopping a spirit from being like, hey, into an armor? You know?
I mean, they're out in the middle of the ocean, just like floating around doing whatever. So, I
Yeah.
mean, why would they not want to, like a hermit crab, just get a new
A
home?
hermit crab. Yeah, yeah. I turn back to Virgil and I'm like, thank you so much. I really
Yeah,
appreciate it.
no, perfectly happy to help a fellow person of the sea. Like points to
Yeah.
the tattoos and sort of like also notes, like lifts up shirt.
Yeah. Let's go.
You also see that there is another tattoo on the other arm that's like a heart. It's like a big heart that has like a pair of initials on it, and one of them, it's like a V and another initial plus another one. It's like, got this one when he proposed.
Oh my gosh. That's incredible. That's so pretty. My
I
gosh.
do
Thank
what
you.
I can. I have a good friend. He's only been practicing for 2 months, but he's a prodigy.
I thought he meant
Oh.
the engagement was to a friend.
Fellas, is it gay to propose to the man you love?
I will say, right about as you're finishing this conversation, you hear like a sudden like crash, just rocking somewhere near kind of like the beachside area where some of the other ships are coming in, and from this weird distance you do see like what looks to be a lashing of a tentacle out hitting the side of a ship.
Ooh.
While that is happening, we pan over to Teledrenith and Adestia. You have to go through a lot of different streets to try and find out where Hana's at. There's a lot of, I will say for Adestia, this is a very, like, there's a lot of more people talking than you probably expected to be happening along the way. There is at least, there is at least one moment of like somebody like talking to Keledrinith, but their buddies like eyes are just sort of looking over at you, and they kind of give you the look of someone just going like trying to give like the smoochy lips towards you, and then their buddy notices and she punches him in the gut for it. Anyways, as I was saying, it's a pleasure to see you again, Caladrenith. I think Hana's taking a breather over at the Maiden's Voice, just a few streets down. I think you could probably catch her if you're quick about it.
Thank you. It's great to see you too.
Yes, you would have Zilla, Zilah. She is a rather imposing looking woman. She has like shaved sides and a shock of red hair going down in a long braid on one side. She looks ripped as shit, but she also kind of looks a little uneasy being around a lot of people, which is why like, oh, you I can talk to, you I know, and you I can stand.
Yes,
Kind of energy coming off of
I'm
her.
tolerable. It's great.
Yes, you are a tolerable human. Thank God. Thank God, actually.
Yes.
And then the dude who's still, by the way, he's kind of just passed out on the floor recovering from the punch he just received from Zilla. I just wanted to talk to her. If you wanted to talk to her, you use words. Next time you don't use words, I'm hitting you lower.
Excellent life. I look down at this guy and I just look up back up to Zilla and just say, excellent life lesson. They learn quickly once you tell them that.
I'll use words next time. He just like slowly gets up and he's still like clutching his stomach as he moves away from the moment.
I'll glance at Gena. Or sorry, I glance at Adestia. Sorry.
Just yeah. Where is my elk, by the way? Did I is
Oh,
is
your
this?
elk is still with you.
Oh, good, good.
Your
That's
elk
what I
is
was
going.
imagining.
That is part of the reason you are able to actually part some of the street a little bit more easily. Is just people are like, "Fuck it, nope,
So
not
are
today,
you
Satan, not today, Satan."
yeah, are you riding the elk? And also, what is the elk's name? I feel like I would know that unless you have also deliberately kept this from us.
I am riding the elk because I have to compensate for my height. His name is Ransur, which polearm, so very intimidating name. He's a lot nicer than I am, though, so that's what I imagine.
I would say an aspect that Keladrinith, being more socially inclined than Adestia is, would note that the elk is a little timid being around this many people. The rider and elk seem to share a similar level of anxiety about people.
Okay.
But yeah, I am astride this elf, so I'm probably like a good what, like 8 feet up, something like that.
It's very tall. This elk is very big. But you are able to, without too much difficulty, make your way to the Maiden's Voice, and you would see like hiding in a corner, like nursing a drink, like having a look of like if you saw God and then they turned into an eldritch horror in 2 seconds and then they just disappeared. That's kind of the look of fear that Hana has on their face.
Okay. Hmm.
Just like nursing one very massive like mug of some sort of frothy substance.
Okay. I'm going to. Can I just like go to the bar and ask? Well, I'll have like. Can I get one of what she has? And gesture to Hana.
You see person with an eye patch. Their expression. They have a very grizzled. They're missing about half of their teeth, but they give you like this very big like earnest smile. They definitely have like the makings of a beard, but it hasn't quite fully set in yet. It's sort of like, I get you.
Thanks.
The mug is it's quite substantial, and if you take a sniff of it, it's very strong.
Oh, okay. I mean, good thing it's not for me.
Like
Yeah.
it's one of those things where like it'd be the equivalent of going to a bar and seeing someone just very casually drinking multiple Long Island iced teas.
Mm.
It'd be that kind of thing. Which, for anyone who doesn't know, a Long Island iced tea is so much liquor in it, so much liquor.
And that's much not liquor.
Well, that is actually very helpful because likewise, I do not drink alcohol either. So
It's a lot.
Yes, I brought it up just in case.
It's a lot.
It's the equivalent of like 4 drinks in one.
Jeez.
Hell,
Okay.
5 maybe.
Okay. Well, I've made this decision anyway, so I'm just gonna I'll thank the person. I assume we have enough money for the things that we need to do. I don't know how money works.
Assume money. There's not really a standardized currency in the system because Leon has not really done that, and thank God.
Honestly, yeah, I don't really want to have to deal with like capitalism. So
No, we're adding it to the list of staples in most of my games. I don't indulge with capitalism unless absolutely necessary.
yeah.
Even
Okay.
then, how necessary most people find it to be is often vastly overrated.
Okay, well, I put goods and or coin of equivalent worth to the drink plus a little because I like this person
Yes, yes.
on the bar, and I'll head over to
Yes.
Hana cautiously.
You
I'm
see-
going to. Oh, sorry. I'm going to. I did not ride my elk into the building, by the way. I am
Would it even
not.
fit?
Who knows? I am going to stay at a nearby table. I don't want to crowd Hana, and I want to give Kildrenith space to do their thing. But I'm going to be at a nearby within earshot table and keeping an eye on the rest of the room.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
No. So far, it doesn't really seem like there's that many people right now. It hasn't quite gotten fully to like a lunchtime kind of quote unquote rush. But it'll probably fill up soon. But yeah, Hana, I will describe her as like more tanned than like natural brown skin, but definitely has a little bit of like light reddish sort of tones, sort of warmer tones to her skin still.
Mhm.
She has very dirty blonde hair that is kind of like in a mess. It looks as you've probably seen her a couple other times just from various passing bys and different activities you've done as an infiltrator. And she's normally one inclined to keep it very tightly secure in like either a ponytail or in like a bun that's very practical. And like her clothes, they definitely have the "I slept in these last night" kind of look to it. Like they definitely look like they're like just. It's not been a good X amount of hours for them, and she is struggling.
Well, she's valid for that. I'm gonna lower my hood, and so you'll see that that my hair is it looks like I've cut it myself just with like whatever blade happened to be on hand, but I have like somewhat styled it so that it's a bit spiky at the bottom. So, yeah, I'll lower my hood. I'll make sure that she can see me approaching, so I'm not like gonna come from behind her or anything, like so that she knows that I'm coming. I'll gently set this second drink that I've bought for her down on the table, and I'll say, "Hey, are you Hana?"
Who's asking?
Uh, Kildrenith of
Oh,
Hold.
right. I've seen you at the lodges. Um, Hi. Yes, that's me.
This is for you. I'll gesture to the drink.
You'll note that the first one that was full only a couple minutes ago is already empty. And
Yeah.
she is already starting to make her way through this second one.
Okay. Great. Well, maybe not great, but yeah. Okay. How are you doing?
I'm going.
Mhm.
That's a way to put it.
Yeah. Well, there's no really getting around this. I've come to talk to you about the reports of what you saw recently. Myself and my crew are looking into it.
Yeah. figured that's why anybody's talking to me right now. She's like having to. They look like they're almost like doing mental like breathing exercises right now
Yeah,
just to keep themselves
I'm gonna
calm.
I'm gonna let them do their thing. I'm not gonna like, kind of stare at them while they do this. I'm just gonna kind of hang out, do my best to be casual.
Listen, if you don't believe me, I understand.
No,
But
no, I
if you're
do.
you do?
Yeah, I do. The thing you described is familiar to me, I think.
Wait, you've seen something like this too?
Yes, I think, yeah, I have. It had a kind of clanking sound with tentacles coming out of its mouth.
It, yeah. Did you hear it?
Yeah,
No. Not the clanking. Did you hear did you hear the thoughts?
no. How did you hear the thoughts?
All I know is that with how close I was to this thing, I I was hearing stuff. I It felt like I was going through memories, bad memories, really really terrible memories.
Your memories or this being's?
No, that's the thing. They weren't anything of mine. I remember having the experience of watching shrapnel like shred an entire battalion. I remember seeing a long, like bolts fired out of a massive crossbow just pierce through a catapult device. I remember seeing just conflict, just war, just terrible things.
I'm sorry. I don't know much about the nature of these beings, but perhaps if there was a way to stop them from being plagued with such thoughts. Hmm.
Probably tell you a bit more. I just maybe need a sec to.
Yeah, of course. Take all the time you need.
Yeah. And on that note, we're going to take our break. It's a little bit later than usual, but I wanted to make sure we got through both Gena's scene and sort of setting the stage for some other elements that are coming up. So, folks, we'll be back in about 10 minutes with more of our second session, which, for those of you who didn't happen to catch, because I forgot to say at the beginning of the session, session 2 is called Mired and Calamity. We will see you in about 10 minutes. Hello there, everybody. Welcome back to Fragments of Loss, Session 2, Mired in Calamity. We have just had a small experience of the party, one, splitting in pairs, one group which has had a very, I suppose helpful is the right word, if a bit disparaging to one member of the party encounter with a
I'm so
local
sorry.
fisherman. And the other half of the party has gone to a local sort of tavern and to chat with an individual, the individual who reported the most recent account of this shadowy creature that appears to be causing havoc some in different places across Amulta. One that Caladrinis seemed to recognize aspects of that were noted in the story. And so while chatting with Hana, Caladrinith and Adesti have overheard descriptions of apparently Hana being forced to relive memories of war and conflict that were not of their own. And so, as Hana is taking a moment to just sort of gather herself,
Yeah.
she continues on.
Okay, because I did have a question while Hana was taking a moment.
Yes. What is your question?
I was going to ask, does anything about the memories that Hana described remind me of a certain battle or anything that I would have heard of historically?
It's not so much a specific battle, it's more a series of
Mm,
battles, the things that were said to have happened during the last war,
okay.
which overall led to quite a lot. It was a massive conflict. There were whole battlefields that were scoured and ruined throughout the process of war that was happening. It is the kind of thing that even before the cataclysm in which the Cloudcomb Mountains melted and literally led to a flood of earth across the continent, it was the conflict was so bad it was basically beginning to scour the highlands of Rimehold. It
Okay, thank you.
it's the kind of thing that like massive environmental degradation would have been confined to mostly Rimehold if the conflict had not spread out further, but it almost just amplified how bad the degradation and negative effects on the land and soil around it was
Mm,
overall once the cataclysm did occur. It was like, oh, this is bad. Cataclysm happens. Oh, this is even worse.
Right,
That's
thank
kind of the
you.
severity of it.
Okay, thank you. Wow.
But Hana sort of takes in, I don't I don't know if this was just part of the memories what I was hearing, but it seemed like the thing was trying to talk at one point.
Trying to talk. Do you know what it was trying to say? Or do you have an idea?
I honestly, a lot of it didn't make a lot of sense to me. And she like tries to do a rough approximation of the voice that she remembers hearing. Secondary impact land vehicle armament, codename Silva, must return to main Sarah armament soon.
Hmm. Am I familiar with any of that or no?
None
Assumedly
of
not.
that. It sounds roughly like gibberish. It's though. Tell you what, this why don't you give a roll for me? This is something more akin to the realms of knowledge
Okay.
and just think about how someone like think about that less as like a knowledge check and more like how would Keladrinith, if they did know about this, have gone about finding out?
Hmm.
Like if this was something that interested them.
I mean, I have tactics as a skill. I have humanity as a skill.
I
I
would say
think that maybe trying to study tactics from
yeah,
various instances historically, I think I might have
I
done
think
that.
that makes sense then. So choose a facet that you think is appropriate, and I would say tactics works in that case.
Tactics and honestly, understanding. I'm trying to
Yeah,
understand things.
study, learn to plan. Yeah, that seems appropriate.
And for yeah, I'm not sure if a key applies, although could argue for could argue for ambition, but I think I'm just gonna take the skill and the facet.
Yeah, this will be more of a range of knowledge.
Okay,
So
so that's
one
yeah.
success will give you something, two will give you more, three, etc. will give you even more than that. Three
Okay,
and
so
above will
that's
give you a wealth of knowledge.
okay, so that's 3 dice.
Yes.
Okay.
So let's see what you're able to recall.
I got a 5. I would
Okay.
like to add another one though, because I'd like to find out more things if that's okay. So
Okay.
I
So
have
we
only the one success. I would like to add another one to maybe get a little bit more information.
okay, so that will be so for the record, so we note it for our producer. So one auto success has been marked off from the party. So a second auto success total has been marked off. But so that is two total success in this instance.
Thank you.
So it's faint, but you remember here reading accounts on some level about armament, about various kinds of automata. So automata were meant to be in is there automata is more the term that is applied to them now, but they were more generically just referred to as weapons of war or of conflict, where they were often either self-sustaining or self-directed devices of some kind, sometimes full-blown constructs that were often given protocols or directives to follow through in order to handle certain goals that they were given in a given conflict. Some might be attack a certain kind of troops, some might be destroy certain supplies, but they were often given code names as a means of allowing a better distinguishing to them, and also for the ease of practicality, not having to write out a long ass name all the time. So, as far as you understand, the phrasing that Hana is speaking to suggests that this is an automata designation. Like this Silva is likely the name of a type of unit of automata. And
Okay.
again, the phrasing on the meaning for it across the whole acronym is secondary impact land vehicle armament.
Thank you. Hmm. So I think it's like a a kind of programmed directive to destroy this. Okay.
Now, again, you're not certain what any of the whole other shadowy elements are,
Okay.
but something about this deeply involves an automata of some kind. That much you have is clarity.
Okay, thank you.
But like Hana is just talking, and then sort of she just has a moment of just being like, I'm sorry, I don't know if I can really say that much more.
No, that's okay. I'm sorry that you had to deal with that and that apparently I'm not the first one to ask you about it. Uh
I tried to bring it up to other infiltrators, but it sounded so weird. Some of them kept saying it sounded like a horror, but it can't be because of how mechanical it sounded. Most horrors tend to just be a reflection of something from the past, something really terrible that happened, but it's never really. A lot of the ones that we've seen don't typically become metal.
no,
So
well, I believe you.
I appreciate it.
Are you interested in knowing how our investigation goes, or would you rather just put all this behind you?
I'd much prefer just to hopefully never see anything like this ever again.
Yeah, I hope you don't. Is there anything I can do to help right now?
Nope. Second drink, just fine, just fine. And you see, she's already almost done with the second
Oh
drink
God.
too. She's definitely having one
Oh.
of these moments of like sudden, it's hitting her all at once, and she's kind of. She's in that state of getting to be drunk of like, um,
Okay.
why is everyone suddenly off kilter? Like, why is
Right.
everyone sideways?
Yeah. I'll yeah. Edestia, did you have plans? Like ideas for this?
I was
We
gonna
can
say
help her
like
get home.
um oh geez, what was I gonna do? Does it look like she's leaving it all anytime soon, or she's gonna
No,
hang out
no,
here?
she's definitely she's like in the like.
All right, I'm gonna just like try and signal to the bar from there and try to signal like could we get her something to eat? Where I'm listening.
A-okay, A-okay. And you just see him sort of just like they come over, and there is an extremely heavy bowl of some kind of pork stew that it does not look the most appealing. There definitely appears to be several bits of things like intestines, liver, kidneys, and lungs in it. It's definitely every part of the pig has been used for some purpose kind of dish. But like you definitely hear them say, "Don't worry about it, buddy. This'll cure whatever ails you. You'll be good." And they're just sort of like, "Thank you, kind stranger. You're, you know, you really should like try and stand up straight more. Like your posture looks kind of weird, all
Yeah.
tilted to the side." They're very much like
Yeah.
the consequences of their actions are now catching up with them
Yes.
fully.
I will sort of try to sway in time with them and be like, is this any better?
You know, I'm going to be real honest. No.
Right. Well, thank you for the feedback. And I'm watching this thinking, well, at least they're not thinking about the horrors anymore. So that's an improvement. But I'm just gonna kind of push the food gently towards them.
Yeah, they're just like slowly slurping it up.
Great.
You 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 definitely see and smell the distinct scent of pig's blood that's been added to it. It's
Okay.
definitely one of those kinds of stews.
Okay. Well, well, I'm not familiar with this manner of stew, so who am I to question it? I'm just gonna let this occur.
And it's right around this time that there you and Adestia hear like what sounds like a commotion happening outside, and there are people who are starting to run by, and
Okay.
you
Yeah,
start you
I'll make
hear
eye
that
contact.
crash noise that happened earlier that both Wea and Azura
Mhm.
heard.
Okay. I'll make eye contact with Adestia, kind of gently pat Hana on the shoulder, leave some more money on the table for the food and also a tip for the barkeep, and head outside to the source of the the
Just
commotion.
again, the half toothed smile
Give a
individual
little
just sort of this
I'll
is
give a little salute,
like
like
gives a look of like, I got you, buddy.
yeah.
I've got you. But again, as you all arrive at some point or another towards the beach, you find yourselves looking upon a both impressive and kind of horrifying sight. There is, it's almost like a shroud of gray and black ethereal energy just circling around some sort of massive shape of some kind, but the feet that you can make out definitely look almost like a tortoise, but they look mechanical in nature and metallic.
Hmm. Am I hearing the same kind of clanking that I heard previously?
You are
Oh.
hearing the exact same kind
Ooh.
of clanking, and you again, all of you, as you are arriving and seeing this creature just sort of emerging out of the water, it's knocked over, it's hit the side of a ship. You hear a voice just sort of echo out, Silva unit initiating next protocol. Initiating Terra Mortem protocol.
Oh, well, that doesn't sound good.
And you watch as though, like, where its feet are connected to the ground, you're watching almost like the ethereal life essence of the water and the sand is being pulled up into its body. And it's the equivalent of like everything just went black and white wherever its feet are touching. It's like the land itself is being drained of every bit of energy and life, the force that exists in it. And that, folks, is what we're going to call the start of moving into crisis mode.
Okay.
Because this is a big boy. This is a
Oh
big boy.
yeah.
So, here is how crisis mode works as we shift over into this new sort of mode of play. Now, everyone in the party is going to make a tactics roll using any facet they wish. So just how do you think your character would be responding in this situation? Make the argument for that. So that skill, the skill if you have tactics and any facet, roll that, and we're going to add up the total amount of successes, and this will make your advantage pool. This will effectively act as sort of free successes in a way for whenever you try to advance a goal.
Okay. Let's roll. Hmm.
Do we need to tell you what facet we're using?
No. I trust you.
Okay.
Whatever facet, just basically,
I
just
have a
at most, just describe how your
Mhm.
character is approaching the
Okay.
scenario.
I do have a question. Are edge
Yes,
successes important in this instance?
I'm going to say no.
Okay, thank you.
Let's
That's
go with
useful
just a
because
full success, just to simplify it for this encounter. I'm
okay.
gonna put. Let's say I'll even be nicer, just so that we have everything, just more to get the flow of how this kind of play works. That I will treat them as a success,
Okay.
but a consequence may happen later down in the conflict that changes things. Is how I'll roll it if you have any.
Okay, fair. No, it was mainly just so that I could assess whether or not to use my risk taker ability, but I think I'm going to save that for later. So,
Yeah.
yeah, so in that
But
case,
so
that leaves me with one success only.
okay, so that's one success from Keladrinith. So everyone else, what is your total successes? That's one. Okay, so that's two, And that is 1. Okay, so currently the advantage pool is at 3 successes. Now, so the next part of crisis mode is that I let you know the difficulties in terms of the best course of action selecting a goal. So there are 3 potential goals that you can advance here: destroy, redirect, and outlast. As far as I understand the rules, from reading this from the cheat sheet and such, I let you know what the current difficulties are, and you try and decide how you want to approach that. You can still choose to take the hardest difficulty if you'd like. It is just a matter of that is how many successes you need in order to manage advancing the goal on that track. That's basically what it means. Anytime any of these are filled up 5, the crisis is over. So you have destroy. It is a difficulty of 6 successes. So when you choose to advance the goal, whatever you choose to roll with, you need to either make 6 successes, or you need to get however many you can and add from your advantage pool. Redirect. You need 5 successes to advance. Outlast. You need 7. So these numbers just indicate how many successes you need to roll and add from the advantage pool in order to advance the goal. So with what I've stated before, redirect is the easiest to do. Destroy is the next easiest, and outlast is the hardest to do. In order to even advance the goal once, you'd need to get 7 successes in there. So with that out of the way,
Okay.
with that being the case, it is now the party's turn. So, setting the scene, you are like at the docks. There is a beachside there. The creature is emerging sort of out of the water, and let's put it in the category, like if we had to do like D&D equivalent, it's like huge to gargantuan size. It is a massive beast or metal creature of some kind. It's really hard to tell with the shroud covering it, but on each of your turns you can choose to either add to the advantage pool or advance a goal. In either way, you choose to roll a skill or cast a spell, deal with the consequences of that, and then see if you're successful, if you take the successes and add them to the pool for everyone to be able to use. If you choose to advance a goal, same deal, but you're aiming to try and land a number of successes equal to what the specific goal you're trying to advance needs to count as. Again, any of those can be done, but once any of them is done 5 times, combat ends. The crisis is over for now. So, who would like to take the first turn?
Can I do something that benefits everybody but not take my turn? I have an ability called Alert Eye
Let me go
to
check that out.
see all of the environmental hazards of the area.
Okay, at the beginning of conduct, tell you if there are any environmental hazards. If you choose to scatter 1, yeah, this just automatically activates. This is not taking your turn.
Oh, okay. Perfect.
No.
Oh,
This
nice.
is it just says at the beginning of combat. It
Huh.
doesn't say in place of your turn. Rules as written, I'm going to go with that's just a thing
Does
that
this-
you have.
Okay.
I also have a
Sorry.
question. Go ahead, sorry.
Yes.
I was just saying that I'm gonna take a scatter for that.
Okay.
Thank you. I was going to say, does this count as an urban environment?
Yes. This is a very odd one.
Okay, in which
I'm
case...
going to say urban, and also I'm going to say coastal, if that applies to any of you.
Okay, sweet. Yes, it does, because I am a street stalker for my survival specialty. We start the advantage pool with 2 successes.
Okay, so with the 3
Due to
successes
being
you
in
already
an
have,
urban
your pool
environment.
has a total of 5. So you're starting with a pool of 5 available to you. Wea, to answer your question, the environmental hazards that exist around here, a lot of it is just walking along the docks. These things are not stable enough to handle any sort of hit from this creature. If you are positioned in the docks, like on the actual like wharf, like wooden like platform sort of thing, if this thing gets close enough to you and focuses on them, it's going to knock you down and you're going to be trapped and hurt in some way. You will not be buried or anything like that, but you'll just be like
Yeah.
suddenly collapsed with things on top of you. So there's that.
Okay.
And also, you get the sense going into the water is a very bad idea right now. Like, it is literally starting to try and suck in aspects of the environment around it. So
Okay.
that is
I have an idea.
okay. So if Keladrinith, if you want
Yeah.
to take the first go, do you want to?
Yeah, I want to kind of pitch it to the party though first, just in case. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
so
yeah.
as the party, do we need to be unified in the goal that we're working towards if we choose to advance a goal?
It's up to y'all. Do you think
Okay,
you work well
because
enough
based
together to
on
do that?
okay, I will kind of pitch this to the party and we can decide if our characters would act accordingly. I think that it's unfortunate that I didn't have time to convey what I learned from Hana due to being interrupted by this crisis,
Mhm.
but I think based on what I've learned, I believe that it might be possible to redirect this creature's attention, and I think that now that I know it's some kind of command programming situation, that I might be able to convince it to stand down. Which does that count as redirect? Because
Yes.
I'm looking at the state of
Yes.
things and I do not like I think if we destroy it, we might also end up doing damage to the people and to the environment that is here, and I'm not particularly keen on doing that as a character. So
Yeah.
I
The-
have
because
I have abilities in command,
Hmm,
so I'm absolutely yes. I think we could do that.
okay, because if I use on my turn kind of convey this information like yelling it, then I think I can cast a spell.
Yes.
Possibly.
Yeah, my
Yep.
question was, what is our terrain notes? If you,
Your terrain notes.
yeah.
Yep. I'm pulling those up right now. So your terrain notes, I will say you for this one because it is a unified section. Normally you only get 3 from one. I will give you 2 from each. So the urban ones, you have doorway, and I'm gonna say cracked. The coastal ones, I'm gonna say you do not know what the specific coastal ones are. That would require a roll to figure out what those are. But I would put
Hmm.
that. But if you are doing something in the advantage pool to generate for your advantage pool, I will let that be part of figuring out what the spell notes are for the coastal.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of moving parts
Yeah,
here.
yeah,
It's
there's a lot
not
of stuff.
so.
It's okay. I have a
no,
yeah.
no, no, no. But that's why I'm trying to make this as smooth as possible. This might even bleed into the next session, but that's perfectly fine. I want us to get like flow and vibe of all of this, so we have a sense of how it works.
Yeah, thank
But
you. I
yeah,
appreciate it.
no. That's why I'm doing it this way. So to successfully destroy, you would have to eradicate this thing in some ways. Redirect, you either need to stop it from doing the ethereal absorption process, or you have to find a way to move it elsewhere. And outlast, you just have to deal with this thing long enough until it stops siphoning things. Which is why it's hard, because this thing looks like it's going to be at this for a while. But
Okay.
whoever's going to take their first turn, if Keladrinith, if you do want to take it, are you going to try and generate for the advantage pool or try and advance a goal?
I would like to advance the goal of redirection.
Okay.
Yep.
So for this, you will need to get 5 successes using either a skill or casting a spell of some kind.
I would like to cast a spell.
Okay. So you're going to take 1 note from your own list and 1 note from the environment.
Okay. So for the environment, I will pick doorway.
Okay.
And for the spell notes, I will pick us.
Oh.
That's one of mine.
Okay, that is you have made your own you've made a different systems version of Dimension Door. I love this.
That's what I say. We're dimension dooring.
Yeah. I mean, I'm thinking about this as in like if
Yeah.
this thing is like a robot, we can, there's a bunch of there's a bunch of code in a maze. I'm trying to direct it to the correct
I love
doorway. That's
that.
what
I
I'm
love that.
thinking.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
I'm not trying to physically move it. I don't think that that
Okay,
idea would occur to
so
me, but
you put it together in us doorway.
yes.
What is your intention for this spell? Let's see what that is.
I would like to open the doorway to get it to I want it to change its behavior to stop doing this thing, try to override whatever is inside it that is telling it that it needs to do this.
Oh, so you're trying to actually even like open a quote unquote doorway to change
Yes.
its thinking protocol.
Yes. Yeah,
Ooh, that is
because
interesting.
based on what Hana told me, like I understand that there's a protocol in there, and so that to me means that I can maybe reprogram it, change it, do literally
I
anything to
like that.
influence
That
that.
that is very
And
inventive and
so,
creative. I would probably put that this is somewhere in the range of a stepping stone to solving this problem.
hmm,
I'm
I
gonna
don't think
put that
I.
at 3 scatter.
Okay, entirely fair. I'll take that. Can I add a key to this?
Yes. What
Okay.
is
The I would like to add the key of freedom. Give it another choice.
I like that. That is great. Okay. So so with
I
casting your
believe.
spell.
So I believe
Okay.
I'm rolling 5 dice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's see. Okay, that is 1 success and oh wait, hey, no, sorry. Oh my God, that's 2 successes and 3 edge successes if I use my risk taker ability. Unless the edge successes don't stack.
Actually, no, wait, hold on. Uh the when you're doing spells, the scatter is basically standing in for the successes of
Oh,
everyone else.
sorry.
You don't have to
Okay.
do
So I
no.
didn't actually need to
That's
roll.
on me for
Okay.
not explaining that. So what happens if you've agreed to do this and you're okay with that scatter cost?
Yes, I'm okay with
Your
that.
scatter cost is going to add to your is yeah, and try to meet the difficulty. Oh no, wait, you're right, because this is advancing a goal. I thought you were adding to the advantage pool.
Yeah, I'm advancing a
Ooh,
goal.
so what? How many successes did you get?
2 and 3
Two,
edge successes if I yeah.
3 edge successes.
Yes.
Okay, I will say here is my offer to you to get all 3 edge successes in order to get 1 successful advancement of a goal. The strain of trying to understand the programming that's happening, you've probably had at least some minor interaction with mechanical devices and have some training in that, but this is old tech. This is far older, far different kind of complexity and what it requires, and also there's very clearly a magical component involved with this given the like ethereal shroud that is around it. If you are going to succeed in this, you're probably going to have to take a hit.
That is okay because that might have we might be able to use that if this current plan fails. I have a good backup situation.
Okay, if you're willing to take a hit, I will give you the successes.
Yes, I'm willing to take a
That
hit.
that advances the goal to redirect 1. You will now have 1 of 5 total advancements on redirect.
So what
That
does it
is
mean to take a hit?
so taking a hit. When you take a hit, you get to choose from one of a variety of different outcomes. So it'll be on the cheat sheet page.
Okay, perfect.
Uh,
Thank you. I've got that.
it'll be on the second one when it's where it says
Oh,
taking
taking
a
hits.
hit.
Okay, great. Thank
Yes.
you. Yes.
Yes, you will pick which one of those. So lose access to your highest facet, gain 5 scatter. You can no longer use ally abilities. You lose your next action, or your next crisis action is inevitable.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3. I'll take the 5 scatter. That gives me 2 left over.
I
I just want to see what happens, you know? Like
oh god. Oh, we are doing well. We are doing well already. You manage to make this and you connect. You have a moment of connecting with this machine, and it is a flurry of horrifying memories that you find yourself going through. Again, much like Hannah described, it is like moments of war, it is moments of crisis. And there was also a very strange moment of hearing somebody, of hearing something, a mechanical voice calling out for a name. And you're saying, you're hearing a mechanical voice say, like, Celis, where are you? Please, where are you? I don't know what to do next.
Hmm.
It is like a psychic backlash, and your body is rocked, and you feel your sense of consciousness attached to your body, like like vibrating and shaking away from you. You are barely holding on to your sense of consciousness right now.
Okay.
But that is one advancement. That is Keladrin's turn. Who's taking the
Okay.
next one?
I think I will, because Azura is trying to figure out how she can use this coastal advantage to help everyone. So I'd like to try to figure out what one of the coastal terrain spell
Okay.
notes is.
All right. So that would be part of adding to the advantage pool. So depending on if you want to use a skill or want to try and use a spell to do this, how would you like to try and make and discover the power of the coast?
I would like to use a skill.
Okay.
I want to use survival nautical.
I like that. Okay. So roll the make your pool from out of that. So with your facet you're choosing from that, the skill, and if you feel a key, an aspect of your key is relevant, add the 2 dice from that. Make your dice pool, roll those, and tell me how many successes you get out of that.
Okay. She's looking towards adaptability, trying to look around the environment and see how it can be helpful, using her survival nautical skill, and then also using her spell key helpfulness, because she's trying to figure out how to help her
Her party.
party
Yep.
better than last time.
Just like, please, please be nice to me,
Okay,
damn it.
I got 2 successes.
2 successes?
Mhm.
Any edge successes?
No.
Okay, so 2 successes. So your pool has now been, you now had an additional 2 added. So I believe your total right now is 7. Because no one has used any additional to make it there. Because Caladrinus took a big hit and a risk with the scatter to do so. Okay, that is your turn, Azura. So Adestia or Wea, which one of you would like to take the next turn?
Do we know the spell?
Oh yes,
Nope.
yes.
Oh, yes, the spell note.
Yes. Let me get you the spell notes. The spell notes for coastal, you're able to find with looking around and getting a sense of just the area, what has been here, and just a lot of the different things you have seen around it. You notice a lot of like little crabs and hermit things that are trying to scuttle their way across the sand and get the fuck out of here because they do not want to deal with any of this. And you even see washed up along some of the shore they're not some of them have unfortunately been pulled into this creature's
Mm.
body. You see shell and jellyfish.
Mm.
Those 2 have been added to the terrain spell notes.
Interesting.
I was hoping that scuttle was one of the words because that would have been so cool. Scuttle.
All right. Adestia or Mirm, do either of you, or sorry, Wea, either of you want to take the next one? Who's up?
I'll take my turn. I'm not good at like mechanical things, but so the best she's gonna do is I'm just gonna look at Ransom and be like, well, I guess we're gonna go. I'm gonna hop on him. Gotten good at this since our intro. And I'm going to try and direct him to fly, this thing is grabbed onto a boat, right? A ship,
Yeah,
right?
aspects of its tentacles, but it looks like the rest. It's like just the tentacle has lashed against the boat, but the rest of it is still trying to move to shore. It's very slow moving, but it looks as though just wherever it's stepping, that process is happening.
All right. I'd like to direct Ransor to fly toward the. We're gonna try and sheepdog this. I would like to try to redirect this away from the boat and
Okay.
away. Gonna try and push it toward so it's a little more isolated from maybe the boat and maybe away from the shore.
Okay.
Away
So
from
you're trying
anything.
to advance a goal with this?
Yes.
Okay, so this is to redirect. So you pick your facet, pick your skills, and then if any from your key apply, you're looking to get a total of 5 successes with or without any of your advantage pool used up. Stop moving
Okay.
me. Zoom, stop it. Why is it doing that?
I'm going to try. Oh, you're up there now. I look down and
Ignore
you look
that.
up.
Ignore that. Zoom doesn't like me having gestures with my hands.
Well, I'm gonna try and use daring for this because I'm basically trying to scare it in the direction to like try and back up from the two of us.
Okay, that makes sense.
Gonna use my riding skill for this because I'm just riding at it very quickly.
Yep, you're trying to get it to corral it to move it to somewhere else. All right. Anything from your key that you feel is appropriate here?
No.
Okay, so roll
oops.
the dice that you have. Tell me your successes and edge successes.
Okay. Definitely gonna have to use for the advantage for this because I don't got a lot of dice on this.
And y'all still have a couple of auto successes from earlier available and re-rolls as well.
Yikes! Wait, what is this? Oh, this is 5. I can't read this.
Yikes! Love it.
It was like
Scared me
2
for a
twos.
second.
It was 2 twos, and it is a 5. 1 success on my dice. How many? I've just blanked out on everything.
So, how many 6s or 5s? Let's start there. How many 6s
1
or 5s?
5.
So 1 5. Okay, so that's 1 success. How many 1s?
None. They were 2s.
Okay, so you have 1 success. So if you want this to be a successful action, you will need to spend 4 from your advantage pool, or you will need to spend from the auto successes that were donated
Or
and the
re-roll.
advantage pool, or re-roll. You have one of the 5 you need. You need 4 more.
Could I use one of these auto successes and use 3 from our advantage pool?
Yeah, that would use up the 3 re-rolls you have left, and you all would have, I believe, 1 auto success left because there's been 2 auto successes, and this
Oh,
would
sorry,
be
I
the
thought you
third.
wanted. Sorry, I thought you wanted 1 re-roll and 3 from the advantage pool, right?
Oh, from the advantage pool.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, from the
Okay.
advantage pool.
Okay,
I was
so
also
3 from the
calculating like, what did I say?
Okay, so 3 from
Yes.
the advantage pool, so that puts you down to
Yes.
4 advantage pool.
So then we'd still have 3 re-rolls left, right? Or would it be 2? Because we used
would-
1. Did we use 1?
You haven't used any re-rolls.
Okay, yeah.
So if you're using a re-roll, so re-roll.
Oh no, I'm using an auto success since we have 4
Oh, an auto
dice.
success. Okay.
No, we
okay.
have
We've
2
got to
of them,
figure it
so
out.
we
We got
got
to
1.
figure it out. Okay, so it's one success from what Gena rolled.
Yes. 1 auto, which brings us back
3 from
to...
3 from the advantage pool, and
Yes.
then 1 more auto success. So that leaves you
Yes.
all, in terms of bookkeeping,
1
1 auto success left, and I believe
3
it's
rerolls.
3 rerolls. Yes.
Okay, amazing. Thank you. I'm so glad that these carry between sessions. Thank you, everyone who's
Yes.
donated. Thank you so
Thank-
much for
thank
saving
you,
our
everyone.
lives, quite possibly.
Yes. But so, okay, with all that out of the way, so you said, I'm double checking this just so I have this last one. So you did not spend for the reroll, you just spent for the auto success, correct?
Yes.
That's what we said. Okay, so you
Yes.
have the 5 you need. With that being the case, this works. That is your second advancement of redirect. This thing just suddenly, like, it tries to lash out more of its shroud form towards you
Yeah.
because it's being agitated, but you are much more seasoned and have a better relationship with your elk friend, with Renzor, than you had previously. You managed to dodge past that, and as you manage to dodge by it, and it lashes out its shroud, so we'll do the bookkeeping. Thank you, Mired, our producers, just letting us know the updates and stuff. We'll get that stuff sorted out in between sessions. But as as it tries to lash out, the rest of you are able to see more of its tortoise like body, like its mouth is opening out. It almost looks like it's like bits of crystal and geodes that are covering its body with both vibrant crystalline sort of hues and tones to it, and also like moments like spots of gray and black. It's almost like the shroud lifts from its body and then it just comes right back down to cover it once it's unable to get Adestia. That is 2 advancements, folks.
I'll take any
Wea.
hits. No? Okay.
Oh my god. Sorry, my son. Um. Okay, so if I want to add to the pool, hold on. Where am I looking? This is where I'm looking. If I wanted to add to the advantage pool, I can just like tell you what I'm thinking, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm thinking of casting a spell. Um, I'm thinking of casting, um, I want to use Shifting Shell as I
Ooh.
watch the shell sort of like open and then close and kind of come to the conclusion that the shell is kind of like one, it's protecting itself for obviously it's a shell. Um, but also like if it's fucked up, that's just only gonna be to our advantage.
So shifting shell. So you're trying to move this thing's shell?
Yes.
Okay, that's a big one.
Yeah.
That's an entire aspect of its defense being moved around. I would say that is that is a large step to a large problem.
Mm-hmm.
I would put that at 5 scatter
Okay.
to do something like that. It's a very big cost because you're going real
Mhm.
big with this.
Yeah. And I am willing to take that and like do it for 5 scatter.
Okay. And this is for the advantage pool?
Yes.
Okay. The party, what does it look like as you are summoning out this magic?
So, I think I'm still in town, away from where the whole thing happened that we're not going to talk about right now. Uh, we're definitely away from that. Um, but I'm still kind of on solid ground, more like, stones and the like. And so you kind of see the ground around Wea turn red, much to the effect of their deity. Um, and the best way I can describe this is Wea makes like looks directly at the turtle and flexes like they're trying to move the shell from where they are with the turtle very far away. Um, so yeah. And so that same kind of red glow moves from where they are to where the turtle is.
I'm not gonna lie, because of how you described it, I I was imagining a straight up what was it, a haka being done at the
Yeah!
turtle. Like just straight up being done at the turtle, and you
Yeah.
just fucking used your deity's power to scare the shit out of this thing.
Yeah.
As you do this, there's whole aspects that just start to shift over. That is a massive gain on advantage. This thing looks like it's lost like a portion of its body's control. And it's almost like a whole piece of that shroud falls off. And I will state that as the shroud begins to almost like melt into the earth, you all see what looks for a brief moment like a whole like crowd of faces just trying to reach out from the shroud. like screaming in pain. That is everyone's turn. It is
How much-
now.
How much does that
Creatures.
add, by the way? to
That
the
adds your
advantage pool?
scatter cost to the advantage
Oh
pool.
shit! That
So
okay. So
you
it's
now have a
5.
pool
Wow,
of
thank you.
9.
Okay, amazing.
It's very much
This
magic.
team.
Magic is big cost to you, but big gain to the party.
Yeah.
In during crisis, like magic is one of those like, all right, I'm about to do a pro gamer move. I will have to blow off my arm to do this, but it'll be great.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
Go team. Thank you.
here is what happens on its turn. Its turn is actually very simple.
Ah, crap.
I'm going to pick 2 of its abilities. I'm going to pick a big one and a small one. Here are the names of the 2 abilities.
Okay.
One is called Seismic Catharsis.
Oh.
Oh, cool. Great.
The
like
other
that.
Totally.
the other one is called Land Necrosis.
No, thank you.
I don't like either of those.
So
Pick a different one.
Pass.
Seismic catharsis. It could be okay.
Seismic Catharsis, it will cost 2 from your advantage pool to prevent it from doing this. A shockwave of energy spreads out from Silva. 2 target players gain 2 scatter each. It is like a shockwave of energy spreading out as one of its feet hits the ground. It's about to try and do a shockwave at 2 of you. Land Necrosis. Ethereal energy is pulled from the terrain around Silva. A random terrain spell note cannot be accessed until Silva's next turn.
Ooh.
It's going to rob you of one of your components for magic. That one costs 3 to prevent. It is up to you. These are taken directly from your advantage pool.
I think
I'm
we
in-
should. My suggestion is take 2 to not do the seismic
Oh, okay.
catharsis and take away 1 of the terrain notes. I think that we are a very clever group of spellcasters and can make do with 3 instead of 4.
I think so, but I'm concerned about what that will look like narratively if it removes a terrain note.
Mm-hmm.
So my
Good
inclination
point.
was going to be to let the scatter thing happen, but
Do we
prevent
get
the
to
terrain note.
choose who gets scattered?
That's a good question.
I am literally going to roll a d4.
Yeah. I'm willing I'm willing for my character to also take this because I only have 2 left. It could be spicy. So
Ooh,
I hope
okay.
if it
Yeah.
happens.
Do we like
I haven't
spicy?
taken
Yes.
any. So
Yeah, but that's only a 1 in 4 chance, and
Yeah.
both
Yeah.
Caladrinith and I have both taken at least 5.
Oh, Caladrinith, if they take this hit, they are going to lose consciousness and they will have no more turns.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm okay with that
That's
if
the
it
thing.
happens as a player. But we also have enough in the advantage pool to prevent both from happening. It's just that I as a
Exactly.
player it's just that I as a player like consequences.
Yeah.
So yeah.
that's why I was
Again,
like,
because,
oh yeah,
I
no,
mean,
totally throw me on the bus.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean I also to the question about spice, I personally also do like spice. So
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's a risky maneuver, and I think it's fun. The rule of cool applies.
Let's go.
Let's prevent the necrosis one and let's roll d4.
Okay, is that the final decision?
That's what I vote for.
So
Yeah. So that
Okay.
means we lose 3 from our
You
advantage
lose
pool.
3 from your pool, so you
Okay.
are now at a total of 6 in your advantage pool.
still a pretty
Mhm.
big number.
That's
That's
a
good.
big number.
It's still really good, and you've already gotten 2 advancements. You just need to do 3 more. I rolled, and with my overlay, looking at the zoom, I had Sebastian as 1, Gena as 2, Amber is 3, and Mirm is 4. And I rolled a 3 and a 4.
Ah,
So
Shit.
Oh no.
Azura and Weya are both going to take 2 scatter. You
We're the
watch
buff
as
ones.
Are
Let's
you
go.
yeah,
are you still alive? Are you still
Yeah.
conscious? Okay, great.
I can
Yes.
take I can take 1 without falling unconscious, and then I will fall
because
unconscious.
you are at did you have scatter before this, Weya?
I had to take
You did.
one for the alert
Oh,
eye.
right. So then you got the 5 and then you took 2. So you are in the same position that I think Kildren is in. If either of you takes 2 more, you're knocked out.
Yeah.
Woo!
But
Yeah.
yeah, it is basically this thing attempts to begin the process of siphoning off more energy, but I kind of imagine it as the two strongest people in the party. You both go up and like gain its attention, and it just slams both of its feet down the ground, and there is like a pair of shock waves that just go and hit both of you across the chest.
Ooh.
You feel I hate this film. Good explanation of what I intend. If anyone has ever seen live action Doctor Strange, where he gets like his spirit punched out of him, that's
Oh.
kind of what it
Yeah.
feels
Oh
like.
no.
There's a
Yeah.
moment of, especially for Wea, like you feel your consciousness being divorced from your body for a second.
Yeah.
Azura, you feel some of this, but you haven't taken too much scatter yet, so there is this feeling of displacement from your body. But as that all happens, it comes to the second round of this, as you are all on the coastal hub of Stageport, trying to deal with whatever this automata adjacent creature is. That is where we are going to take the end of our session, and we are going to have to wait till next week to resolve this, folks.
I'm gonna write down what I was gonna do.
Yes, please,
So we don't forget.
Yes, please, if folks can, write down. I'm gonna state all the things out loud. Somebody please write this down and then put it in our channel, our text channel about this game. You have 6 in your advantage pool.
Ooh.
Okay.
6.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you have 2 out of 5 advancements towards the goal of redirect.
Yeah.
But yeah. Oh my god, I was not expecting somebody to take that big a scatter that quickly. Oh god, this system is much more
And
dangerous
two
than I
of us
thought
did
was.
it. Not even
And
just
2 of
one.
you
It was
did it.
two.
What
can
the
fix
fuck,
it.
folks?
I
That's
can
all
fix
right.
it. Don't worry,
It's
guys.
right.
Don't
It's
worry,
right.
folks. I can
Also, I
fix
just
this.
want to note once again, people, a haka being done to fucking displace a shadowy ethereal machine's turtle shell is fucking awesome. I
Let's
love
go.
TTRPGs.
Also, I do want to say, after I got like slammed and my like soul left me, and I came back, I just kind of like cracked my back. I'm like, never felt better.
Just like,
Oh,
it's like,
thank
are you
God.
sure? Oh no, I'm scared shitless, but no one will ever know.
Nope. But my back feels great. We cracked it. We're good.
But
I'm
so,
back.
folks, here's the case. I'm gonna let everyone just hype up one thing that they're involved with. One. Just say who
One.
you've been, where we can find you and such on the socials, and one thing that you're involved with, and who you've been playing, and all that stuff. I will do my thing real quick. As again, thank you everyone who's been tuning in. Leon, this system is dangerous, and I love it. Thank you so much for a cool system for crises mode. And so, my name is Angela Lemos Mogrovejo. I use she, they pronouns, and I've been your conductor this evening, managing the chaos, and also I love these players. I'm already so in love with all of this so much. You can find me most places as Phoenix24Fem, and I'm currently over on Valdrian's channel for the Daughters of Io series happening over there, a Girl by Moonlight series where I have been playing a trans egg, which is a very different experience for me and is awakening a lot of feelings I hadn't had for a long time. And it's a lot of good, healthy processing. So that's me. You can find me over there. I'm going to go counterclockwise this time on the overlay, and I'm going to go with Sebastian.
Okay. Hi, I'm Sebastian. I use they, them pronouns. I've been Keldrinith, who also uses they, them pronouns. Once again, you can find me on the Actual Play podcast using the Genesis system, Roads Uncharted. New episodes drop every Friday evening. Thank you very much. This has been fun.
Alrighty, I'm passing it on over to Amber.
I am Amber. I use she, they pronouns, and I've been playing Azura, who also uses she, they pronouns. I am a Twitch streamer under the name analog_Amber, where I stream typically Mondays, Tuesdays, and Fridays, except for Mondays through this campaign. And on Friday nights, my husband and I play Baldur's Gate 3, wink. And you can come see how we've lost our cleric.
Rough.
R.I.P. F's in chat,
Pour one
everybody, for
out
that
for the
cleric.
cleric.
Pour one out for the cleric.
It's holy water. I'm pouring it out.
Mirm, you're up next.
Hi, everybody. My name is Mirm. I use she, they pronouns, and tonight I've been playing Wea, who uses they, them pronouns and not she, her pronouns. That was my mistake at the beginning. And on Thursday this week, we are starting our finale on the Meadowlark channel for our Sterling Garden, which is a Star Wars campaign that we're doing. And it's a lot, and I'm so excited. And yeah. And if you want to catch up before it, there is a YouTube playlist to catch up on the first 5 episodes. So if you want to see me cry, make other people cry, you should over there.
Mirm doing Mirm things, as we have all known to come to love them already.
Yeah.
Speaking of people who we already love and are so happy to be back, Gena.
Hey, I'm Gena. I was not here last week, as I'm sure you know, but I am debuting as Adestia, who uses she, her pronouns. You can find me on social media at Gena Fan on Blue Sky these days. When I am not on this channel, I am in 2 shows on this channel, but you can find me more regularly at Entropy Emporium, where we're playing a 5e campaign every other Friday. I believe this Friday we are starting our second arc, which is very exciting. If I have the date correct. I'm very bad at dates and time. Gotta check out Entry Emporium, who definitely has the schedule better than I do. It's my one thing.
Fantastic. And again, thank you to everybody who's been tuning in for our second session. It is already an absolute pleasure to be sharing this world that Leon McDonald has written, and to be elaborating on different elements to breathe into life a lot more BIPOC fantasy and BIPOC stories. Thank you so much for also everyone who already donated and folks who are in a place where they want to donate but they know that they can't afford it at this time. We understand. Thank you for just being involved, being engaged, and for trying to help foster spaces whenever possible where trans stories can just exist in all of their ubiquitous, boring, and sometimes also fantastical ways. A lot of us are absolute wonders, stars who have 8,000 talents you wouldn't know, and some of us are just absolutely boring and just want to hold on to a cat at the end of the day. Sometimes we're both of those people. Thank you, everyone who has been here, for helping us create a show that we are going to be proud of. Thank you to Mayor and all of the Sword and Key folks for being here for production and everything else. And we hope, again, that you will continue to tune in to what is already shaping up to be much chaos, but many lovable characters from this fantastic cast that I'm always humbled and honored to get to be the conductor for. So, with that, everybody, we hope that you have a fantastic night, and in the midst of unpleasant, perilous, and terrible institutional oppression, we hope that you can find joy and look towards the imagination for something liberatory. There's always more that can be done there, and more that we can all create that allows us to not just survive through the hell that is our lives, but breathe beauty and wonder into it. Thank you so much for your time, and we hope you have a fantastic week. Take care, everybody.
I'm going to just quickly bounce in here, just say thank you, and check out the socials for Sword and Key, everyone. And we'll keep an eye out for casting calls for Pride Month. That should be going out soon. And as someone who has seen the list of what's coming up and who might be running something herself, that should be posted soon because June is literally right around the corner. All right. Good night, everybody. Bye.
Bye.